Chapter 30-20. Su Fang suddenly came to a stop as the formation leaped, arriving in a space filled with dazzling light. He took a closer look. Countless ice mirrors floated in the space, each facing him. Su Fang saw countless reflections of himself in the mirrors. With just one glance, Su Fang immediately felt a sense of confusion in his consciousness. He could not tell whether the reflection in the mirror was him or the one standing here. The ice mirrors were indeed very strange. Each mirror stripped away a part of Su Fang's consciousness, causing Su Fang's Tao heart to be lost and his consciousness to be in chaos. This feeling was similar to someone who had once dreamed of becoming a butterfly. After waking up from the dream, he could not tell whether he had become a butterfly in the dream or the butterfly had become him in the dream. Su Fang's current situation was more than 10,000 times more terrifying than the person who had dreamt of the butterfly. If it was an ordinary cultivator, his Tao heart and will would have collapsed in an instant. He would have fallen into a state of confusion and schizophrenia, completely losing himself in the ice mirrors until his primordial spirit was exhausted and his origin soul completely collapsed. The cultivators of the Ice Soul Divine Clan were born with some special innate abilities. Coupled with the Tao techniques and divine abilities they cultivated, they could resist the power of the ice mirrors. Su Fang naturally did not have the talent of the Ice Soul Divine Clan, nor had he cultivated the Tao techniques and divine abilities of the Ice Soul Divine Clan. Moreover, he did not even know what the third test was about. He was caught off guard and fell into a predicament. Buzz buzz buzz. Just as Su Fang was about to lose himself, the mysterious Tao runes from the Heavenly Secret Life shrinking technique flickered in the Jiuquan Tao Palace. The Tao rune's aura swept out from the Tao Palace and removed the power of the ice mirrors that were disrupting Su Fang's consciousness from the Jiuquan Tao Palace. Su Fang was finally out of danger. He suddenly felt a chill all over his body. That feeling was truly terrifying, and he did not want to experience it again. In just a short moment, his spirit had become dispirited, and he felt as if he would never wake up again. Furthermore, the power of the mirror did not disappear just because Su Fang stopped looking at the mirror. It continued to attack Su Fang's consciousness, trying to strip his consciousness and absorb it into the mirror. Su Fang had no choice but to cast the Tianji life shrinking art. He kept burning his Tao runes to incinerate the power that was being projected by the ice mirror. Using the Heaven's Secret Life shrinking technique had caused Su Fang's life force to drain away at an alarming rate. This won't do. If this goes on, then even if I'm not suppressed by that strange mirror, I'll exhaust my lifespan and die here. Su Fang was burning with anxiety. In the blink of an eye, Su Fang's mind spun rapidly as he used the Heaven's Divination solution to make millions of deductions. Suddenly a thought flashed through his mind, and Su Fang suddenly became high-spirited. Since the Heaven's Secret Life shrinking technique can resist the power of the mirror, and I have the Destiny Dharma body, those ice mirrors will definitely not be able to threaten it. I can let the Destiny Dharma body completely conceal my aura and then find a way out of this space. Su Fang immediately released the Destiny Dharma body. The illusory Dharma body immediately merged with his physical body, causing him to disappear from the mirror space without a trace in an instant. He did not really disappear, but the power of destiny displayed by the Destiny Dharma body caused Su Fang to exist in the illusory destiny. Not only could he not be seen with the naked eye, but even his primordial spirit could not sense his existence. The ice mirrors lost their target and immediately returned to their normal state. Su Fang's figure could not be seen on the mirrors. How did that human cultivator suddenly disappear? He didn't disappear, but he used a peerless divine ability to hide his figure. Not only can we not see him, but even the illusion death divine mirror can't sense his existence. What kind of divine ability can deceive the illusion death divine mirror's senses? The experts of the Ice Soul Divine Tribe, who were secretly watching Su Fang, fell into shock once again. Under the protection of the Destiny Dharma body, Su Fang could no longer be affected by those strange ice mirrors. They turned into ordinary mirrors. Su Fangda shuttled through countless ice mirrors and searched for a while, but the result disappointed him. He could not find the exit of this space. Is there no exit in this space? Su Fang used the all-seeing eye and looked at the vast expanse of ice mirrors. The problem must be with those mirrors. In an instant, as if the fog had been lifted, everything became clear and real. Su Fang suddenly grabbed a ray of sword chi and landed it on a mirror in front of him. Crack! The ice mirror shattered with a loud sound. As if it had caused a chain reaction, the ice mirrors shattered at the same time, and the whole space began to collapse. Su Fang was swept up by a divine power and disappeared from the collapsing space. The ice soul cliff suddenly bloomed with a holy Xian Guang shining on the ice peak. The whole ice soul sanctuary seemed to suddenly light up. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The ice cliff began to tremble violently, and the sound spread through the ice peak and spread in all directions. He broke the record of the third test of the Frost Snake Path. Who on earth is that person? Even if it's dancing ice, it's impossible to pass the 3 tests of the Frost Snake Path in such a short time. An unprecedented peerless figure is going to appear in our Ice Soul Divine Tribe. At the bottom of the ice cliff, exclamations rose one after another, and everyone was shocked. The 3 female cultivators of Sacred Snow Palace looked at the ice cliff with disbelief and awe in their eyes. Shiyue and the young man had completely turned into ice sculptures, and their eyes were full of horror. A figure emerged from the highest point of the ice cliff, and then jumped out. Seeing the figure's appearance, there was a dead silence at the bottom of the ice cliff. At this time, Su Fang's hair was gray and his aura was weak. His appearance and attire were obviously not of the Ice Soul Divine Tribe, so it was no wonder that the Ice Soul Divine Tribe cultivators were so shocked. As soon as Su Fang came out of the ice cliff, a string of eye-catching divine runes condensed at the highest point of the ice cliff. It was a name, but it was not Su Fang's name, but the name of the Ice Soul Divine Tribe woman, Shiyue. That was because Su Fang had entered the Frost Snake Path with Shiyue's token, so the name he left on the ice cliff was naturally Shiyue. When Su Fang landed on the ground from the ice cliff, 3 Ice Soul Divine Tribe cultivators immediately flew over. These 3 people's auras were void, and their strength was at the same level as Zhu Zhongxing, who was a Dao Saint expert. They were obviously big shots of the Ice Soul Divine Tribe. The Ice Soul Divine Tribe elder in the middle said indifferently to Su Fang, "Human cultivator, the Frost Snake Path is the place where the geniuses of our tribe train. How did you enter?" The expressions of the 3 giants were extremely displeased. The reason was simple. Su Fang's performance was so shocking that he overshadowed the geniuses of the Ice Soul Divine Tribe, so the big shots of the Ice Soul Divine Tribe naturally felt ashamed. Su Fang cupped his fists and said, "I am Su Fang of the human race, and I am the Tao companion of Sacred Snow Palace's disciple, Xuanxin. As for why I entered the Frost Snake Path, this human cultivator is Xuanxin's Tao companion?" The 3 Sacred Snow Palace disciples' expressions changed instantly. Xuanxin's Tao companion was so powerful, and Xuanxin's talent was definitely not bad. Moreover, Su Fang had broken the previous record and left a new record that would be difficult for the future generations to surpass. It would definitely alarm Ancestor Snow. The 3 of them had just plundered 1,000 icy soul freezing spirit pills from Xuanxin. If Su Fang knew about it and reported them to Ancestor Snow, what should they do? Su Fang pointed at Li Yu, who was behind the crowd, and said, "Why did I enter the Frost Snake Path? You can ask her. He, she said that Lord Ancestor Snow summoned me, but who knew that I entered the Frost Snake Path? I also want to know the reason." Su Fang was not a fool. Although he did not understand the reason, he knew that he had been tricked by that woman. If he did not master a powerful divine ability, he might have died in the Frost Snake Path. Naturally, he would not be polite to that woman. Li Yu. The old man's divine light rolled on the name at the highest point of the ice cliff, and then he looked at Li Yu. A cold and majestic pressure shrouded her in an instant. Li Yu had already prepared a lie, but under the pressure of the old man's majestic pressure, she could not say the lie that she had fabricated in advance. Li Yu had no choice but to tell the truth. You have guts. You dare to use Ancestor Snow's decree. I'll punish you to go to the frozen gorge to reflect on your mistakes for 1,000 years. The old man of the Icy Soul Sacred Clan shouted in a deep voice. Frozen gorge? Su Fang soon learned from the discussion of the surrounding cultivators of the Icy Soul Sacred Clan that the Frozen Gorge was a place specially used to punish the cultivators of the Icy Soul Sacred Clan. The cultivators who violated the rules would be turned into ice sculptures and imprisoned. Li Yu was imprisoned in the Frozen Gorge for 1,000 years. This kind of punishment was neither painful nor itchy. This woman wanted to kill me, but she received this kind of punishment. That Icy Soul Sacred Clan's big shot obviously wanted to protect his clansmen and humiliate me, an outsider. For Xuanxin, I can only endure it. Su Fang was clear in his heart. For Xuanxin to gain a foothold in the sacred snow palace, he could only endure it. Thank you, Lord. Li Yu didn't expect the punishment to be so light. She was surprised and happy at the same time. She quickly bowed to the old man. Wait! A beautiful figure suddenly walked out of the void and appeared at the foot of the ice cliff. It was a woman of the Icy Soul Sacred Clan. She had a flawless face like the other women of the Icy Soul Sacred Clan. At the same time, she also had an otherworldly and holy aura that other women didn't have. The woman's figure was slim and graceful. She was wearing a robe made of snowflakes. Every snowflake had exquisite and mysterious divine runes, which set off the woman's holiness and nobility. Bing Pianxian. Bing Pianxian is here too. Many cultivators of the Icy Soul Sacred Clan were shocked and in awe. They bowed to the woman one after another. Even the big shots of the Icy Soul Sacred Clan looked at the woman with flattery in their eyes. This Bing Pianxian is definitely a powerful genius of the Icy Soul Sacred Clan. Even the big shots have to curry favor with her. Su Fang felt Bing Pianxian's aura and couldn't help but be shocked. Judging from her aura, this woman's cultivation had reached the peak of the profound Tao realm. Her aura was extremely powerful, even more shocking than some of the higher-ups of the Icy Soul Sacred Clan. Chapter 30:21. Why does Bing Agile want to punish Shuriwe? Su Fang was surprised by Bing Agile's decision. The old man called Elder Han paused for a moment, then nodded. That's right. She dared to fake Ancestor Snow's decree. Such a disgraceful act should be punished severely. Her cultivation should be destroyed, and she should be expelled from the sacred mountain. Shuriwe collapsed on the ground like a pile of mud and was taken away by a higher-up. Su Fang was shocked. He didn't expect Bing Agile to have such great power in the Ice Soul Holy Clan. Even the big shots of the Ice Soul Holy Clan obeyed her. Then Bing Agile looked at Su Fang and asked indifferently, Human cultivator, are you satisfied with my punishment? Thank you. Su Fang cupped his fists at Bing Agile. No need to thank me. I just don't want you to look down on me and say that the Ice Soul Holy Clan is protecting our clansmen. Bing Agile nodded. Then she glanced at the name on the ice cliff and said, I'll give you 10,000 years to recover, then prepare to fight me. Whoosh! The surrounding cultivators of the Ice Soul Holy Clan were in an uproar. Bing Agile wants to challenge that human cultivator? Bing Agile is the #1 cultivator of our clan's younger generation. Our holy ancestor said that she will definitely become a Daozu in the future. She wants to challenge that human cultivator? What an honor it is to be challenged by Bing Agile. Many cultivators of the Ice Soul Holy Clan were whispering. They looked at Su Fang with envy, as if it was a great honor to be challenged by Bing Agile. However, Su Fang shook his head and said, I'm sorry, but I don't accept your challenge. Bing Agile raised her eyebrows. That's not up to you. Bing Agile challenged that human cultivator, but he refused? He doesn't know what's good for him. I think he's guilty. How could a human cultivator break the record set by our clan's genius in the Frost Saber path? He must have cheated. This human cultivator dared to defy Bing Agile's will. She suppressed him directly. The cultivators of the Ice Soul Holy Clan discussed fervently. I just said that I'm not interested in accepting any challenges. Sorry. Su Fang was about to leave as soon as he finished speaking. Bing Dance suddenly said coldly, "Your Taoist companion is called Xuanxin? If you don't accept my challenge, there won't be any place for her in Holy Snow Palace in the future." Su Fang's eyes shone with a cold light. "Are you threatening me?" Bing Agile said, "Yes, I am threatening you. If you refuse, I will do as I say. However, if you accept my challenge and if you are lucky enough to defeat me, not only will I promise you that I will take care of your Tao companion in the Sacred Snow Palace, I will also give you a great fortune." Su Fang asked, "What if I lose?" Bing Agile said, "If you lose, I won't make things difficult for your Tao companion, and I can guarantee that she won't be bullied in Holy Snow Palace in the future." Su Fang thought for a moment, then agreed decisively, "Okay, I accept your challenge. After 10,000 years, I will come to you. I don't need 10,000 years. 1,000 years is enough. You are so seriously injured that it will take you at least 1,000,000 years to recover, but you only need 1,000 years. It seems that you have a powerful time Xianbao. Then 1,000 years is the limit." Bing Agile nodded. Her figure blurred quickly, turning into a cloud of ice mist that melted into the void and disappeared without a trace. A high-level member of the Ice Soul Divine Clan asked someone to take Su Fang back to the Ice Palace where he had lived before. Many cultivators of the Ice Soul Divine Clan took a look at the name on the ice cliff, and left the square in front of the ice cliff with shock and doubt. The 3 female disciples of Holy Snow Palace quickly returned to the Sacred Snow Palace, and then went straight to the palace where Xuanxin lived. Xuanxin. Just like the last time, the 3 of them directly forced their way through the formation. The tall woman in the lead shouted coldly at Xian Xin. Xuanxin didn't expect the 3 to return. His heart sank. He quickly bowed and asked politely, "Senior sisters, what can I do for you?" The tall woman took out a storage ring from her palm and flew it to Xuanxin. Xuanxin was shocked and stunned. This storage ring was the one that had been taken away before. "Here is your Frosty Soul freezing elixir. Don't spread rumors and ruin our reputation," the tall woman said coldly. She didn't explain anything, and then the 3 left. Xuanxin grabbed the storage ring and found 1,000 upper-grade Frosty Soul freezing elixirs in the storage ring. Not a single one was missing. What happened? Xuanxin was stunned and puzzled. He couldn't figure out what was going on. Inside Fuyao Cavern Mansion, Su Fang sat cross-legged in the chrono formation. He began to urge the heaven-piercing Blood King Vine to devour the vitality and blood in the corpses of the Chrysalis clan cultivators. At the same time, he used the Yang reversal technique to quickly recover his life and energy. In the chrono formation inside Fuyao Cavern Mansion, the flow of time was 60 times faster than normal. 1,000 years outside was equivalent to 60,000 years inside Su Fang's cultivation inside Fuyao Cavern Mansion. Actually, he had amazing recovery methods. How could he need such a long time to recover to his peak state? In less than 10,000 years, Su Fang not only recovered his lost lifespan to normal, but his life and cultivation also improved by a lot. At this time, Su Fang began to cultivate his mantras and abhijnas. He mainly focused on the Jiuxuan Wuji Sutra, the Heavenly Mystery Solution, the Heavenly Mystery Life Shrinking Technique, the Extreme Black Yang Mantra, and the Yin-Yang Mantra that Dongxian Daozu gave him. His abhijnas mainly focused on the formless heavenly wheels and My Lord's seal of 10 directions. The various avatars and abilities were also rapidly improving in different ways. Settling down for over 50,000 years, Su Fang's cultivation improved quite a bit again. Within his body, Tao Palace, and on his Dharma body, another heavenly mark appeared. This signified that his current cultivation already reached middle stage lower Tao profound realm standard. His various abhijnas and abilities also improved by a lot. Being agile challenged me not on a whim, but for another purpose. What is she trying to do? Su Fang guessed Bing Agile's motive, but he could not figure it out. The agreed time of 1,000 years was soon up. On this day, Bing Agile transmitted her immortal soul consciousness. Human cultivator, time is up. Have you recovered to your peak state? If you have not, I can give you more time. No need. Very good, follow me. Su Fang walked out of the palace. Under the guidance of Bing Agile's immortal soul, he flew out of the huge ice mountain and came to the sky above the ice plains. He saw Bing Agile's beautiful figure standing in the air. Bing Agile's immortal soul light swept Su Fang's body. She found that Su Fang had recovered to his normal state, and a strange color flashed in her eyes. I didn't expect that there would be such an extraordinary cultivator in the human race. Let's go. Bing Agile nodded at Su Fang, then flew towards the depths of the ice plains. She came to the sky above a glacier and said, "This is the place." Su Fang suddenly asked, "Can you tell me why you suddenly challenged me?" Bing Agile stared at Su Fang, then smiled slightly. "You are indeed smart. There's no harm in telling you the truth. The reason why I challenged you was not because of your amazing performance in the Path of Frost Spines. It was because I encountered a bottleneck and needed an extremely rare spiritual item. I had no choice but to come to a dangerous place and find a powerful helper. So you chose me? With your identity, it shouldn't be hard to find a helper 10 times stronger than me in the Ice Soul Sacred Region. That place is very strange. Once one's cultivation surpasses the Tao Profound Realm, one will suffer unbearable shackles. But the effect on Tao Profound Realm cultivators is not great. And among the Tao Profound Realm clansmen in the Ice Soul Sacred Region, it is hard to find a suitable helper, and I coincidentally found you. What place is that? And what treasure is there that even you feel it is so precious? I can only tell you now. The treasure that I want to obtain is not only useful for me to break through the bottleneck. It also has astonishing benefits for you, especially your Tao companion. If you want to know what treasure it is, then take out your full strength and see if you have the qualifications to know. Bing Agile, who seemed weak but revealed a holy aura, revealed a rare heroic spirit of a woman. I am going to make my move. Ice Heaven Spike. Bing Agile released her thoughts and suddenly appeared in the sky above Su Fang. In an instant, the icy fog in an area of 100 miles rolled. The icy aura instantly enveloped Su Fang, turning Su Fang's surroundings into ice. The power of ice froze space to form a frozen world. Chi. Streaks of sharp icicles fell from the icy fog. Before attacking Su Fang, it made Su Fang feel as if his entire body was pierced by the icicles. The abhijna of the Ice Soul Sacred Tribe is indeed extraordinary. But it can't be considered a supreme great abhijna. Su Fang revealed a domineering smile. He used the formless heavenly wheel and formed a 9 suns heavenly wheel, melting the surrounding ice shackles in an instant. Poof, poof, poof. Before the icicles collided with the 9 suns heavenly wheel, they were melted by the 9 suns heavenly wheel's endless Xianyang divine might, turning into a rain of ice. Finally, they were completely evaporated by the 9 suns heavenly wheel. The 9 suns heavenly wheel rolled up and collided with the icy fog in the air. In an instant, the icy fog was swept away. Su Fang shouted loudly, "Take out your most powerful abhijna. Otherwise, you are not qualified for me to show my strongest abilities." "All right." Bing Agile's pleasant voice rang out. A layer of cold Xian Guang, like moonlight, gushed out from her body. Su Fang felt that the scenery around him changed drastically in an instant. turned into a mortal world, and his consciousness also quietly changed. His identity was that of an ordinary mortal. Because of his cowardice and inferiority complex, he was bullied by his peers when he was young. His parents died tragically. His engagement was broken off and he was robbed by bandit. All kinds of misfortune followed Su Fang and eroded Su Fang's Tao heart, trying to make him submit. If I didn't obtain the origin holy mirror and the purple cloud's Dharma spirit in the mortal world of the Pan Tsang universe, perhaps my fate would be like this. If is after all an if. I now have the ability to control my own fate. No disaster or difficulty can make me submit. Chapter 30:22. No matter how the illusion changed, how it attacked Su Fang's Taoist heart, and how it affected his primordial spirit, it could not shake his Taoist heart at all. His primordial spirit was still conscious. At this moment, he was like a bystander, experiencing all kinds of setbacks and pain in the illusion, but he would not sink into it. This human cultivator's Taoist heart is extremely strong. My ice illusion realm could not shake it. No wonder he could break 3 records in a row in the frigid spine path. It seems that I was right. This person is the one I'm looking for. Surprise and joy appeared in Bing Pianxian's eyes. Thousands of miles away from the battle between Su Fang and Bing Pianxian, many cultivators of the Ice Soul Divine clan were watching from afar. That human cultivator is really powerful. He is actually safe and sound in Bing Pianxian's ice illusion realm. Bing Pianxian has the innate ability to create ice illusion realms. She once trapped an expert of the Divine Clan who was 1 realm higher than her in the illusion. In the end, her Taoist heart was damaged and her will was almost wiped out. She later went into secluded cultivation for thousands of years to recover. That human cultivator was trapped in the ice illusion realm and was not affected at all. It is really incredible. Bing Pianxian's most powerful divine ability is not the ice illusion realm. Moreover, her cultivation is 2 levels higher than that human cultivator. No matter how extraordinary he is, he will be suppressed by Bing Pianxian in the end. The cultivators of the Ice Soul Divine clan were discussing animatedly. It was not until now that they had to admit that Su Fang could break the record of the frigid spine path. It was not by luck, nor was it as some people had guessed before that Su Fang used some cheating method. However, they did not think that Su Fang could surpass Bing Pianxian. In the end, he would still be defeated by her. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. As soon as Bing Pianxian's voice fell, phantoms formed by her thoughts flashed out from between her eyebrows and appeared around Su Fang in an instant. A total of 3,000 phantoms formed by her thoughts danced around Su Fang. Their graceful figures contained a strange Taoist rhyme and released a divine power, forming an ice space where the energy and laws of the area belonged to Bing Pianxian. Roar! Roar! Those graceful figures suddenly transformed into ice dragons, ice phoenixes, and all kinds of powerful ice beasts. They roared and charged at Su Fang from all directions. What a powerful divine ability! Su Fang's divine light changed slightly as he unleashed the 10,000 celestial wheels. Streaks of light wheels rolled out and collided with the powerful ice beast. Rumble! The light wheel shattered the surrounding ice shackles and shattered the ice beast. Light and shadows flashed continuously in the world as more and more ice beasts charged out. Those ice beasts were not illusions, but were condensed from the laws and energy within the world of dancing ice. The strength of each ice beast reached the height of the peak of the upper Tao profound realm, and they were unkillable, unless one used a powerful divine ability to shatter the world of dancing ice. Bing Pianxian was indeed worthy of being the number 1 of the younger generation of the Ice Soul Saint clan. Her strength even surpassed that of Hu Ditian and Dongxian Daoyan. My lord's 10 directions seal break. Su Fang also knew that the 10,000 celestial wheels alone could not fight against Bing Pianxian. If it continued to drag on, it would be exhausted sooner or later. Hence, he directly unleashed the My Lord's 10 Directions seal. The shocking divine power of the 10 Directions seal exploded, forming a world that was under Su Fang's absolute control. The surrounding ice shackles were shattered and the laws collapsed. The ice beasts that charged over were also reduced to dust in the collision, and finally dissipated into nothingness. Then, the divine power of the My Lord's 10 Directions seal extended rapidly to the surroundings, colliding violently with the world of dancing ice. Boom! The world of frozen ice collapsed, and Su Fang's My Lord's 10 Directions seal shattered along with it. Bing Pianxian staggered, but immediately stabilized herself. Su Fang was forced back dozens of miles, and his aura seemed to be dispirited. On the surface, it seemed that Bing Pianxian had the upper hand in this confrontation. Bing Pianxian stopped attacking and stared at Su Fang. Human cultivator, you are very extraordinary. If your cultivation was at the same level as mine, even I would not be your opponent. I have to admit that your potential is not inferior to mine. Su Fang smiled embarrassedly and did not say anything. Although the My Lord's 10 Directions seal was extraordinary, Su Fang's strongest abhijna was not the My Lord's 10 Directions seal. If it was a real battle of life and death, Bing Pianxian might not be Su Fang's opponent. Of course, Bing Pianxian must have a more powerful trump card that she had not used yet. The cultivators of the Ice Soul Saint clan who were watching the battle from afar were all shocked when they heard Bing Pianxian's words. Bing Pianxian was the #1 genius of the Ice Soul Saint clan. The Supreme Saint clan of the Ice Soul Saint clan had once evaluated Bing Pianxian and said that she could become the 4th Daozu of the Ice Soul Saint clan. In the minds of the Ice Soul Saint clan cultivators, although the human clan outnumbered the Ice Soul Saint clan, it was a low-level and weak race that could not be compared to the Ice Soul Saint clan. The human clan cultivators were naturally far inferior to the Ice Soul Saint clan cultivators. In their eyes, the human clan was a low-level existence. Now, Bing Pianxian had actually admitted that the human clan cultivator's potential was not inferior to hers. This completely overturned the Ice Soul Saint clan's understanding. How could they not be shocked? The 3 female cultivators of the Sacred Snow Palace, who had robbed Xuanxin of his Ice Soul Chilling Soul pill, heard Bing Pianxian's words, and an inexplicable fear welled up in their hearts. Bing Pianxian suddenly transmitted her divine thought to Su Fang. The abhijna you just used is recorded in the ancient records of my clan. A long time ago, a human clan cultivator came to the Ice Soul Saint domain and fought with us. The abhijna he used was this peerless abhijna. Divine Lord of 10 Directions? The Divine Lord of 10 Directions came to the Ice Soul Saint clan? Su Fang was not surprised. However, there was nothing strange about it. Shi Xian Daozu had come to the Ice Soul Saint clan to hunt down the Divine Lord of 10 Directions. It was not strange that the Ice Soul Saint clan had records of the Divine Lord of 10 Directions. Bing Pianxian continued, your strength has been recognized by this seat. You are qualified to go to the Extreme Chill Labyrinth with this seat. Extreme Chill Labyrinth? What kind of place is that? What treasures are there? If that place is too dangerous, I won't go even if there are treasures. I don't want to be buried in the Ice Soul Saint domain for no reason. Here is some information about the Extreme Chill Labyrinth and the treasures this seat is looking for. You will understand once you read it. This seat promises that once this seat obtains the treasures, you will have a share. Your Tao companion is in the Sacred Snow Palace, so leave everything to this seat. Su Fang was not in a hurry to decipher the information in the jade slip. He asked, are we not going to the Extreme Chill Labyrinth now? We must be well prepared to enter the Extreme Chill Labyrinth, especially the Supreme Grade Ice Soul Chilling Soul pills. Without Supreme Grade Ice Soul Chilling Soul pills, we will definitely die in the Extreme Chill Labyrinth. In another 100 years, this seat will be able to obtain Supreme Grade Ice Soul Chilling Soul pills. When all the other preparations are ready, we will go to the Extreme Chill Labyrinth. If the discussion between my master and Lord Ancestor Snow ends, I will have to leave with my master. At that time, don't blame me for not keeping my word. It doesn't matter. Daozu's discussion will not end until tens of thousands of years later. The two ended their conversation and flew to the Ice Soul Saint Mountain side by side. The three female disciples of the sacred Snow Palace looked at each other in dismay. Their eyes were filled with horror. The tall woman said with a wry smile, "Junior sisters, it seems that returning the Ice Soul Chilling Soul pills is not enough. If Bing Pianxian learns about this," the other two women shuddered. "If Ancestor Snow knew about this, they would be reprimanded at most. Given Ancestor Snow's strength and status, she would not punish them too harshly." However, Bing Pianxian was different. A hint from her eyes was enough to make it difficult for the three of them to have a foothold in the sacred Snow Palace. They might even lose their lives. One of the women said with a wry smile, "I still have more than 30 upper-grade Ice Soul Chilling Soul pills, Xuanxin's palace." Xuanxin was cultivating in the palace. Suddenly, a familiar voice came from outside. "Junior sister Xuanxin, this senior sister wants to see you. Can she come in?" The owner of the voice was none other than the tall woman. "She wants to see me?" Xuanxin was startled. What on earth had happened to make the three cold senior sisters suddenly change so drastically? The three were welcomed into the palace. The tall and slender woman's cold and unchanging face actually revealed a brilliant smile. What was even more inconceivable was that there was actually a hint of flattery in her eyes. Not only the tall woman, but the other two disciples of the sacred Snow Palace also smiled more brilliantly than her, and their eyes were more flattering. "Junior sister Xuanxin, this is your first time in the sacred Snow Palace. I don't have anything good to offer. Here are 500 Ice Soul Chilling Soul pills. Please accept them." The tall woman took out a storage ring and flew it to Xuanxin. In fact, the three of them were bleeding in their hearts. They had taken out all their savings and borrowed some from other disciples of the sacred Snow Palace to get these 500 middle-grade Ice Soul Chilling Soul pills. How could they not feel heartache? Xuanxin did not take the storage ring. Instead, she asked in surprise, "Senior sisters, what happened? Can you tell me?" The tall woman smiled embarrassedly and told Xuanxin about the Su Fang. Xuanxin was shocked. Then, a feeling of pride and gratitude arose spontaneously in her heart. Of course, Xuanxin would not accept the 500 Ice Soul Chilling Soul pills. She was a smart person. Once she accepted the Ice Soul Chilling Soul pills, the three senior sisters would not do anything on the surface, but they might do something sinister and ruthless in secret. Su Fang returned to the Ice Palace. She took out the jade slip given by Bing Pianxian and injected her supernatural power into it. A large amount of information gushed out of the jade slip and was interpreted by her consciousness. It turned out that the extreme chill maze was the most dangerous place in the Ice Soul Holy Realm. It was located in the deep ice under the ice field. The extreme frost labyrinth was a huge labyrinth with many spiritual items growing inside. At the same time, there were many dangers. Even the experts of the Ice Soul Holy Clan only dared to enter the periphery of the extreme chill maze. They did not dare to go deeper. Chapter 30-23. The Ice Heart Divine Jade was a peerless treasure that could only be found in the depths of the ice field of the Ice Soul Holy Clan. Not only was the Ice Heart Divine Jade a cultivation treasure for the Ice Soul Holy Clan's cultivators, but it could also increase their cultivation speed. Absorbing the essence of the ice energy within had the effect of breaking through the shackles of cultivation. It was also a peerless treasure for human cultivators. If the Ice Heart Divine Jade was refined into an Xian Bao, it could nourish and stabilize the Dao Heart. The hardest thing for cultivators to cultivate was the Dao Heart. Which cultivator wouldn't scramble for a treasure that could improve the Dao Heart? If Xuanxin had an Xian Bao refined from the Ice Heart Divine Jade, his cultivation speed would increase by at least 3 to 5 times, and his Dao Heart would become even more stable. Such a treasure would naturally be of great benefit to Su Fang's Tao Heart cultivation. However, the Ice Heart Divine Jade was extremely rare. In the entire Ice Soul Holy Clan, only an extremely small number of powerhouses had 1 or 2 Xian Bao refined from the Ice Heart Divine Jade. It was no wonder that Bing Agile would try so hard to obtain it. Obtaining the Ice Heart Divine Jade was definitely not an easy task. Bing Agile had previously gone to the Extreme Chill Maze with the help of a map and found the Ice Heart Divine Jade. However, that place was occupied by an extremely powerful ice monster, and it was difficult for her to kill it alone. Cultivators who surpassed the Tao Profound Realm would be restricted in the depths of the Extreme Frost Labyrinth, and if other Tao Profound Realm cultivators went, they would not be of much help to Bing Agile. That was why Bing Agile thought of ways to get Su Fang to help. Su Fang pondered for a moment and made a decision. I must obtain the Ice Heart Divine Jade. According to Bing Agile's Jade Slip, the Extreme Chill Maze isn't that dangerous. It seems that this trip to the Extreme Chill Maze is imperative. Su Fang cultivated in the Ice Palace for 100 years. Bing Agile also came as promised. The two quietly left the Ice Soul Holy Clan's sacred mountain and headed towards the depths of the ice field. There were many entrances to the Extreme Chill Maze, but the one that Dancing Ice had chosen was in the deepest part of the ice field. The ice field was filled with cold currents and icy substances, so they could not teleport. They could only fly. Flying through the boundless ice and snow, they encountered many ice monsters along the way, as well as storms that swept through the ice plains. Even with Su Fang and Bing Pixie's strength, it was still extremely difficult. Bing Pianxian was from the Ice Soul Holy Tribe, so the shackles of the Ice Soul Holy region were negligible to her. The journey was already a huge test for her, let alone Su Fang. Fortunately, Su Fang's physical body was strong, his mana was vast, and he had the Xian Yang Dharma body. Coupled with his amazing recovery ability, although flying in the air above the ice field was difficult, he was able to keep up with Bing Luxian. He looked very calm. From time to time, Ice Dance would pay attention to Su Fang. She was shocked by Su Fang's strength and willpower. About 100 years, the two of them arrived at a glacial valley. Bing Luxian led Su Fang into the valley and arrived in front of an ice cave. This is a supreme-grade Frosty Soul pill. Swallow it and refine its medicinal power. Otherwise, when you enter the Extreme Chill Maze, just the extreme cold aura alone will freeze you to death. If you encounter a cold wave, you will die in an instant. Bing Luxian took out a pill that was the size of a pigeon's egg and looked like an ice crystal, and handed it to Su Fang. A cold aura made Su Fang shiver uncontrollably. At this moment, he felt as if his soul had been frozen. Su Fang swallowed the pill. The supreme-grade Frosty Soul pill melted in his mouth, turning into an extremely cold aura that instantly seeped into every corner of his body. In an instant, Su Fang's physical body, Tao Palace, and even his soul seemed to have been frozen. Even his thoughts and consciousness became rigid. The surface of Su Fang's divine body was instantly covered with a thick layer of ice. His entire body turned into a lifelike ice sculpture, completely frozen from the inside out. Seeing Su Fang sealed in ice by the power of the pill, Bing Liuxuan's eyes revealed a mischievous look. How could a supreme-grade Frosty Soul pill be refined so easily? Even Bing Luxian, the #1 genius of the Ice Soul Holy Clan, had to wrap the pill with her aura in advance to prevent the medicinal power from exploding in her body. Then, she had to refine it bit by bit. Su Fang was a human cultivator. His resistance to the Frosty Soul pill was not as strong as that of the Ice Soul Holy Clan. It would be strange if he did not freeze after swallowing the pill directly. However, the Frosty Soul pill was not harmful to cultivators. After a period of time, Su Fang could slowly digest the pill's power on his own. Bing Luxian had deliberately done this to embarrass Su Fang. She was the #1 genius of the Ice Soul Holy Clan, but she could not do anything to a human cultivator. Moreover, Su Fang had broken the record of the Frost Spear sect, bringing shame to the Ice Soul Holy Clan. Bing Luxian wanted to use this opportunity to make Su Fang suffer a little. Who knew, although the supreme grade Frosty Soul Pill was powerful and could temporarily freeze Su Fang's Dao Palace, it could not freeze the primordial aura in the depths of Su Fang's Dao Palace. Under the control of Su Fang's consciousness, the primordial aura quickly filled the Dao Palace and seeped into his body. He immediately regained control of his Dao Palace and body. Then, Su Fang activated his celestial Yang Dharma body. The celestial Yang Dharma body's celestial Yang Dharma body gradually merged with the pill's power. The cold aura that had shackled him was also merged with Su Fang. In 10 days, Su Fang had completely refined all the pill's power. He felt a pure and high-level cold aura in his body and Dao Palace. The surrounding ice shackles suddenly disappeared. You refined the pill so quickly? Bing Luxian was shocked and looked at Su Fang in disbelief. She estimated that Su Fang would need at least 10 years to refine the supreme-grade Frosty Soul Pill. Moreover, during these 10 years, his entire body would be attacked by the cold aura. He would definitely suffer a lot. Su Fang had completely refined the pill in just 10 days. He looked as if nothing had happened. How could Bing Luxian not be surprised? What, did I disappoint you? Su Fang snorted. Obviously, he had seen through Bing Liuxuan's bad intentions. Bing Luxian couldn't help but admire him. If all human cultivators were as extraordinary as you, the human race would definitely be the top race in the entire chaos. Under Bing Liuxuan's lead, the two entered the ice cave. The passages in the ice cave crisscrossed, as if he had entered a labyrinth. Waves of icy aura assaulted him from all directions. If Su Fang had not taken a supreme-grade icy soul freezing spirit pill, he would have been frozen into an ice sculpture with his strength if he was trapped in this ice cave. What was more shocking was that the surrounding ice contained an ability to confuse one's senses and primordial spirit. It was easy to lose one's way in here and eventually become trapped. Bing Luxian had a map and had been here once. She had left traces of her aura along the way, so there was no need to worry about getting lost. The two walked down the ice cave's passages. After walking for about 3 months, Su Fang estimated that they were already 10,000 feet below the ice field. The cold aura shackles became even more shocking. Even Bing Luxian seemed to be struggling, not to mention Su Fang. Fortunately, he had taken the Frosty Soul Pill before and could withstand most of the cold aura. As they continued to go deeper, they had entered the true range of the extreme chill maze. The two constantly encountered powerful ice monsters, but they were all below the Dao Profound level. They didn't encounter any monsters above the Dao Profound level. Su Fang was very puzzled, so he asked Bing Luxian through voice transmission. That's because in the depths of the extreme chill maze, an extremely powerful frost wave demonic sound will erupt. It can even freeze a peerless expert of the Dao Saint level to death. Such a powerful frost wave demonic sound? Su Fang was very shocked. You don't have to be afraid. The frost wave demonic sound in the extreme chill maze will only erupt occasionally. Why can't those experts above the Dao Profound realm enter the extreme chill maze? The frost wave demonic sound in the extreme chill maze is very strange. It rarely erupts normally. As long as a cultivator above the Dao Profound realm enters the extreme chill maze, the probability of the frost wave demonic sound appearing will increase. So cultivators above the Dao Profound realm almost don't dare to enter the extreme chill maze. Those ice monsters above the Dao Profound realm naturally can't survive inside. So that's how it is. Su Fang came to a sudden realization. They carefully advanced into the depths of the extreme chill maze. After another 3 years, they didn't know how deep they had gone into the extreme chill maze. Waves of cold air blew. Ordinary cultivators would be frozen to death in a short time. The surrounding profound ice released waves of cold aura that caused one's consciousness to become chaotic, causing all kinds of illusions. The ice monsters they encountered also became stronger and stronger. Although Su Fang and Bing Liuxuan's strength was extraordinary, they were also exhausted and constantly stopped to recover. After advancing intermittently for several months, Bing Luxian suddenly transmitted her divine sense to Su Fang. "We're almost there. Be careful." Su Fang and Bing Luxian stopped in the tunnel, then condensed their thoughts and carefully flew forward. In less than an incense stick's time, they arrived at the periphery of a cave. Looking inside the cave, they saw that the cave was 300 meters in size and was surrounded by profound ice. From the top of the cave, icicles hung upside down. Those icicles were different. They didn't look like ice but like jade. At the tip of the icicles, there was a small portion that was completely like jade, emitting a faint cold xian guang. "That's the Ice Heart Divine Jade?" "That's right. Looks like there's a lot of them. It shouldn't be hard to get, right?" "Not hard to get? Those Ice Heart Divine Jades are very difficult to collect. And if you look carefully, it might not be easy." Su Fang and Bing Luxian secretly communicated with their thoughts. Su Fang looked carefully and finally found the ice monster that Bing Luxian was talking about. It was a mantis-like monster that was almost transparent. It lay on the ground and merged with the profound ice without any aura. If one didn't look carefully, it would be hard to discover its existence. That ice mantis monster was only 3 meters in size, but it gave Su Fang a feeling that it was even more terrifying than facing a peerless monster that surpassed the Tao Profound realm. "Careful, we've been discovered," Bing Luxian suddenly warned. Without waiting for Su Fang to react, that ice mantis monster suddenly raised its forelimbs. Chi. Chapter 30-24. Su Fang lost a thought, which was not a big loss, but he was shocked by the ice monster's speed. The ice-praying mantis had the innate ability of space, and its attacks could ignore shackles and restrictions. Naturally, its speed was unbelievably fast. "Quickly hide your presence, the King of Sabers will be here soon." At this time, Bing Agile sent a message to Su Fang. At the same time, her figure flashed and leaned against a piece of black ice, and a cold aura gushed out of her body. In an instant, she merged with the surrounding black ice, and no one could sense her presence. Obviously, she had used some kind of powerful magic. Chi. In the time it takes for a spark to fly off a piece of flint, the ice-praying mantis broke through the air and arrived. Su Fang was shocked, and his figure flashed and teleported away. At the same time, he activated the Heaven's Secret Life shrinking technique, and instantly concealed his presence. The ice-praying mantis flapped its wings, and its figure once again broke through the air. However, it lost Su Fang's presence and missed. Its forearms, which were as sharp as sickles, crisscrossed and cut 2 deep marks on the black ice on one side of the ice cave like tofu. The praying mantis circled in the ice cave for a while, and then slowly left, returning to the cave where it was before. Su Fang's figure appeared, and when he saw the marks cut by the ice monster on the cave wall, he could not help but click his tongue. The black ice in the extreme chill labyrinth was extremely hard. Even if he used a high-grade Xian Bao to attack it, he could only leave a white mark on it at most. The ice-praying mantis could cut through the black ice so easily. Su Fang estimated that even with his defensive ability, he would be cut in 2. Bing Agile's figure also returned to normal from the state of fusion with the black ice. She looked at Su Fang with eyes full of surprise and said, "Your ability to conceal your presence is extraordinary. I didn't expect you to have so many powerful magic. Even the Ice Soul Holy Clan doesn't have such amazing magic." "The magic you used just now was also very powerful." Su Fang smiled embarrassedly, and then changed the topic. "The ice monster's strength seems to be more powerful than you said. Even if the 2 of us join forces, it will be difficult to kill it. That ice-praying mantis is the king of the extreme frost maze. It is known as the Saber King, so its strength is naturally extraordinary." "Looks like you've already thought of a countermeasure, right?" "That's right. My plan is very simple. The two of us will divide the work. One of us will lure Saber Sovereign King out of the cave, while the other will collect the Ice Heart Divine Jade. Su Fang rubbed the tip of his nose and said with a bitter smile, I think you definitely won't let me collect the Ice Heart Divine Jade. Instead, you want me to act as bait. You're really smart. A rare smile appeared on Bing Agile's face. Don't think that the Ice Heart Divine Jade is an easy task. The Ice Heart Divine Jade is the essence of profound ice that has been condensed for countless years. It is very difficult to remove it from profound ice. I have the innate ability of the Ice Soul Holy Clan, so it will be easier for me than for you. After a pause, Bing Agile stared at Su Fang and said with a smile, Besides, you're a man and I'm a woman. You won't let a delicate beauty like me act as bait for an ice-praying mantis, will you? Su Fang glanced at Bing Pianxian. She was indeed a great beauty, but no matter what, he couldn't associate her with being delicate. He had no choice but to agree. Bing Agile took out two bell-like xian bao and said, This is a pair of mother and child bells. Even if they are separated by layers of profound ice, they can still sense each other. You and I will each take one so that we don't get lost in the extreme frost maze. So you've already prepared. Su Fang was relieved. It wasn't hard to lure the ice-praying mantis out of its nest, and it wasn't hard to get rid of it either. However, if it got lost in the labyrinthine extreme chill maze, it would be trapped to death. Remember, you have to delay Saber Sovereign King for at least 6 hours, so that I have enough time to collect enough Ice Heart Divine Jade. 6 hours? That's a long time. I'll try my best. Su Fang put away the bells. The two discussed in detail for a while. Then Su Fang released 3 spell bodies and flew towards the cave where the ice-praying mantis was. Once they arrived at the cave, Su Fang immediately used his thoughts to form the Yin-Yang Heavenly Wheel, the Massacre Heavenly Wheel and the Xianyang Heavenly Wheel. A total of 3 heavenly wheels flew into the cave. Chi-chi-chi. The ice-praying mantis's 2 forearms were like 2 large knives as they slashed at the 3 heavenly wheels. Su Fang's powerful 10,000 appearances heavenly wheels was cut into pieces by the ice-praying mantis. Su Fangdao was shocked. The ice-praying mantis's forearms were even more powerful than the Xian Bao. Boom boom boom. Another 3 heavenly wheels flew towards the ice-praying mantis. Before the ice-praying mantis could react, the 3 heavenly wheels exploded. The impact of the explosion shook the cave. The ice-praying mantis lived in the extreme chill labyrinth and was especially sensitive to the aura of the Xianyang heavenly wheels. It was instantly enraged and let out a sharp, ear-piercing roar as it charged out of the cave. Su Fang's Blood Fury spell body unleashed the Blood Prison soul-slaying blade and slashed at the ice-praying mantis. Then, the 3 spell bodies teleported in the direction of the ice-praying mantis without hesitation. The ice-praying mantis waved its forearms and crushed the Blood Prison soul-slaying blade's Blood Prison World and Blood-Red Blade Radiance. Then, it chased after Su Fang. The ice-praying mantis's figure flashed and appeared at the entrance of the cave. Then, she went straight for the hanging icicles. Whoosh! The space inside the extreme chill labyrinth was very narrow. The 3 spell bodies could only teleport within a short distance. After teleporting out, the ice-praying mantis broke through the air and waved its forearms to tear Su Fang's 3 spell bodies into pieces. Dong! Suddenly, a loud rumbling sound like a heavenly drum rang out from Su Fang's Blood Fury spell body. The sound of heavenly wave vibrated out. The ice-praying mantis was sent flying. It let out a sharp and angry scream. The impact of the sound of heavenly way released by Slayer's heart caused the ice-praying mantis's internal organs to be severely damaged. One of its wings was almost shattered. This time, it was completely enraged. Fortunately, the ice-praying mantis was injured and slowed down a lot. Thus, the 3 spell bodies were able to escape easily. After half an hour, the spell bodies escaped to a relatively open area. The ice-praying mantis came one after another. At this time, A terrifying divine power that could seal all directions suddenly descended and shackled the ice-praying mantis. In an instant, it formed a world that was completely dominated by Su Fang. It turned out that Su Fang's body had been hiding here for a long time. He had used my lord's seal of 10 directions to successfully trap the ice-praying mantis. The ice-praying mantis was really amazing. Its forearms were like 2 blades that could cut through space, constantly tearing the shackles around it into pieces. Su Fang had to release his thoughts to stabilize the world created by my lord's seal of 10 directions. At the same time, he released his primordial spirit spell body and used the formation of thought. With the help of the formation, the ice-praying mantis was shackled and unable to escape. Su Fang also released his purple fate spell body. The purple fate heavenly dragon roared and released the heavenly way's repulsive force, forming a huge pressure on the ice-praying mantis. It was also thanks to Su Fang's advancement to the Tao Profound realm. After cultivating for so many years, the power of his spell body and spell body had skyrocketed. Otherwise, not only would it be difficult to trap this powerful ice-praying mantis, he might even be killed by the ice-praying mantis. Time passed by minute, and it seemed so long. Su Fang's consumption was really shocking. The main reason was that his spell body was suppressed in the extreme chill labyrinth. The consumption was several times more than outside. Looks like I can only use the primordial chi to suppress this ice-praying mantis. Even if I can't suppress it, I have to severely injure it. Su Fang could only use his strongest trump card. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to hold on for 6 hours. The primordial chi surged out from the depths of the Tao Palace and instantly seeped into Su Fang's body. Then, Su Fang's figure flashed. He was about to use his strongest attack. Suddenly, rumble! A faintly discernible sound came from the depths of the passageway. It was as if there was a tide rolling in from afar. What is this? Su Fang couldn't help but shudder in fear. Not only Su Fang, but the ice-praying mantis was also very frightened and frenzied. It exploded with all its strength and tore apart the heavy shackles. At this moment, the tide-like sound came from afar. The sound suddenly became as shocking as the raging waves. Cold wave demonic ice sound. Su Fang's divine light changed instantly. He suddenly thought of the cold wave demonic ice sound that Bing Pianxian had mentioned. Before he could react, a cold wave instantly filled the entire passageway, forming a powerful shackle that shackled Su Fang and the ice-praying mantis. Even with the ice-praying mantis's strength, it couldn't move an inch, let alone Su Fang. Whoosh! A shocking cold wave swept over, sweeping Su Fang and the ice-praying mantis along the passageway. Bing Pianxian, who was harvesting the Ice Heart Divine Realm, reacted much faster than Su Fang. Before the cold wave erupted, a rune talisman in Bing Pianxian's body suddenly emitted a violent noise. That rune talisman was something she had specially asked Ancestor Snow to condense before entering the extreme chill maze for the first time. Its only use was to sense the cold wave demonic ice sound. As long as there was a demonic sound erupting from the depths of the extreme chill maze, the rune talisman would immediately sense it. Although the cold wave demonic ice sound only erupted occasionally, once a Tao Profound Realm cultivator was swept in, it would be very difficult for them to survive. Bing Pianxian also made such thorough preparations for the sake of being careful. She didn't expect that the cold wave demonic ice sound that rarely erupted once in 10,000 years would suddenly erupt at this time. Bing Pianxian teleported out of the cave without hesitation. She burned her cultivation and fled to the top of the extreme chill maze at the fastest speed. Fortunately, the higher she went, the weaker the cold wave demonic ice sound's power. In the end, Bing Pianxian crushed another ice talisman and finally withstood the cold wave. That human cultivator definitely can't escape the cold wave demonic ice sound. What should I do? Such a peerless genius actually died in the extreme chill maze. It's really a pity. This person is a little too unlucky. Why would the cold wave demonic ice sound appear the moment he reached the extreme chill maze? Bing Pianxian calculated that Su Fang would undoubtedly die and felt a wave of regret in her heart. Master has an extraordinary relationship with that human Daozu. This human genius is that Daozu's disciple. How should I explain it to Master when I return? Chapter 30:25. Su Fang was engulfed by the cold wave, and the only thing he could do was go with the flow. The cold wave was truly astonishing, and the surrounding shackles rendered Su Fang completely powerless to resist. Even the ice-praying mantis could not move at all, and was instantly frozen into a block of ice. Fortunately, Su Fang had used primordial qi to form a layer of defense on the surface of his skin, keeping the cold wave at bay. Otherwise, he would have been instantly frozen to death by the astonishing cold. Moreover, there was an extremely strange sound in the cold wave, as if countless ice demons were shrieking at the same time, attacking Su Fang's Dao heart, will, and consciousness. Su Fang only managed to hold on for a moment before he lost consciousness under the impact of the sound of the ice demons. But, after an unknown period of time, Su Fang suddenly regained a sliver of consciousness. His body also suddenly regained its senses, and he could feel weight from the state of weightlessness. After a series of crazy falls, he landed heavily on the hard and cold ground. Su Fang's bones were broken, and his flesh was mangled. Su Fang felt like he had been smashed into a meat patty. He had completely lost control of his body, and could not move at all on the ground. It was as if only his soul was left. Fortunately, Su Fang had the heaven-piercing blood king vine, which had fused with every corner of his body. Although his body had been smashed to pieces, the heaven-piercing blood king vine was extremely tough, and the blood threads in his flesh were undamaged. Otherwise, Su Fang would probably have been smashed into meat paste. As he urged the heaven-piercing blood king vine to wantonly devour the life essence of the chrysalis cultivators to recover his body, he condensed a thought and flew out of the Dao palace to observe his surroundings. The scene that he saw shocked Su Fangda. He was currently in a space that was about a dozen miles wide. Above the space was a huge whirlpool, like the eye of a storm. The terrifying cold wave was all around him, circling and whistling, emitting waves of ice demon sounds. The space he was in was right in the eye of the storm, and the circling cold wave formed a small peaceful space here. Apart from the shocking pressure and shackles in the space, the temperature was not as cold as the extreme chill maze. It was obvious that he had been sucked into the eye of the storm by the cold wave. Fortunately, he used the primordial qi to protect his body. Otherwise, even if he didn't freeze to death, he would be torn to pieces by the terrifying cold storm. The ground wasn't made of mud or rocks. It was a thick layer of profound ice. It wasn't any ordinary profound ice either. It was Ice Heart Divine Jade. Within a radius of a dozen miles, the ground was filled with Ice Heart Divine Jade. It turned out that from the eye of the storm, there was a constant stream of cold aura being compressed into divine jade. Ice shards kept falling and piling up on the ground, forming a thick layer of material. This was the Ice Heart Divine Jade. After taking a closer look, Su Fang was greatly disappointed. It turned out that the ice shards floating down from the eye of the storm quickly melded with the ground as soon as they hit the ground. The Ice Heart Divine Jade on the ground was incomparably hard, and it was impossible to cut it open. Su Fang estimated that if he didn't hesitate to consume his Grand Mist energy, he should be able to dig out some. But the consumption of Grand Mist energy would be far too astonishing. Moreover, no matter how much Ice Heart Divine Jade he obtained, it would be difficult for him to get out of here. It was easy to enter the eye of the storm, but it was extremely difficult to get out. Su Fang noticed that there were many broken bones on the ground. The body of the ice-praying mantis also fell not far away. Its entire body had been torn apart by the cold storm and then smashed to the ground. It would be strange if it didn't fall to its death. However, the two sickle-like forearms of the ice-praying mantis were intact. It could be seen how hard they were. Su Fang also discovered that there were some intact skeletons on the ground. They were obviously not the skeletons of human cultivators, but those of the Ice Soul Divine tribe. There were also some ice monsters that had already melded with the divine jade on the ground. There was also a skeleton that was still in a cross-legged position. It was obvious that it was still alive after being sucked into the eye of the storm. In the end, it was trapped here alive. The cultivators of the Ice Soul Divine tribe, who could survive after being sucked in by the cold wave, must be extremely powerful. They must be peerless experts at the level of Tao Saint. Even they were trapped to death here, let alone me. Su Fang's heart sank. Let me recover my physical body first. Su Fang took a deep breath and calmed his breathing. Then, he focused on recovering. The heaven-piercing Blood King vine was indeed extraordinary. After swallowing wantonly, the originally withered life force in his physical body became vigorous again. As the blood qi surged, his broken physical body began to recover rapidly. After more than 10 days, Su Fang's physical body finally recovered to the point where he could move freely. With a wave of his hand, he sucked the ice-praying mantis's sickle-like forearms into his body. This thing was extremely hard. It was definitely not weaker than a king-grade xianbao. If it was refined into a xianbao, it would definitely be extremely sharp. Of course, the prerequisite was that he could get out of here. Then, Su Fang began to search the space, hoping to find a way out. However, he knew that the chances of getting out of here were very slim. In the space, the shackles were shocking. Su Fang's sensing ability had almost lost its effect. It was difficult for him to sense a large area. What is that? On the ground in the center of the space, there was a depression about 1 zhang in size. At the bottom of the depression, there was a milky white liquid that was emitting a sparkling and cold xian guang. Above the milky white liquid, there was a palm-sized snowflake-shaped object floating. It looked like it was carved out of crystal. It was exquisite and flawless, reflecting rays of brilliant light. It was magnificent. Although Su Fang did not know what it was, from the aura of the milky white liquid and the snowflake, he could tell that these two objects were peerless treasures. They were even far superior to the Ice Heart Divine Jade. I'm rich. I'm rich this time. Su Fang's eyes shone with vigor as he strode toward the depression. Suddenly, very abruptly, an old voice sounded from the space. If you don't want your soul to be frozen, I advise you not to have any ideas about the Ice Heart Flower and the Ice Bone Jade Essence. Instantly, every hair on Su Fang's body stood on end. The space in the eye of the storm was very narrow. Although Su Fang's sensory ability was limited, he could still see everything clearly. He had searched the space before, but other than some scattered bones, he did not even see a ghost. Where did this voice come from? He turned around and looked carefully. Still, he did not see a single person. Su Fang's hair stood on end. Could it be that he had really encountered a ghost? If there really was a ghost, Su Fang was not afraid. He was afraid that it was a powerful monster that lived in the deepest part of the extreme chill maze. Stop looking. This old man is right here. The old voice sounded from one side of the cold storm again. Then, the cold wave surged, revealing a small space about 1 zhang in size. Inside the space, there was a red-robed old man sitting cross-legged. The old man was wearing a red robe. He had a head of white hair and beard, and his skin was as rosy as a baby's. He looked kind and amiable. Su Fang's gaze swept over the old man. He found that the old man's aura was incomparably illusory. He was at the same height as the half-step Daozu, Xianzheng. He was not far from the Daozu's realm. Moreover, the old man was not from the Ice Soul Sacred Tribe. He was a human cultivator. Su Fang was shocked. He hurriedly cupped his fists and said, "Senior, are you a hidden expert who cultivates here? I have unintentionally barged into this place and disturbed Senior's cultivation. Please forgive me. The old man smiled warmly and asked, I didn't expect to meet a cultivator of the same race in the deepest part of the extreme chill maze. Little fellow, what is your name? Who is your master? I am Su Fong, a wandering cultivator from the eastern profound divine realm. Su Fong answered honestly, but he hid his identity. He then asked, Senior, may I ask who you are? Why are you in the deepest part of the Ice Soul Sacred Tribe's extreme chill maze? The old man smiled bitterly and said embarrassedly, I am not cultivating here. I am shackled here. After saying that, the old man lifted his long robe. On the old man's body, a chaotic-colored chain pierced through his heart. The two ends of the chain extended all the way to the depths of the cold wave. Su Fong was shocked. He then asked in confusion, Senior, with your strength, shouldn't it be easy for you to shatter the chain and leave this place? Is there something wrong with the chain? The old man nodded and said, You are smart. This chain is made of chaotic black iron. It is called the soul-shackling divine chain. Even a Daozu expert would find it difficult to break it. Moreover, I am not a Daozu and my vitality is greatly damaged. Su Fong asked, Senior, who are you and who shackled you here? There is no need to mention my name. I am already on the verge of death. I am like a pile of ashes. You can call me Old Man what remains. The old man let out a long sigh before he slowly explained to Su Fong. It turned out that this old man who called himself Old Man what remains had been shackled in the cold wave in the depths of the extreme chill maze for 500 million years. 500 million years ago, the foreign races attacked the human race. Old Man what remains was also a peerless expert of the human race. He was very famous in the human world. In the battle with the foreign race experts, Old Man what remains was severely injured and fled to the Ice Soul sacred domain in the depths of the chaos. In the end, he was shackled by a foreign race expert called Saint Sovereign Xie. Fortunately, Old Man what remains had a fire elemental Xian body. He had an extremely unique and powerful ability. Even if he was killed, he could quickly reignite like ashes and come back to life. Speaking of this, Old Man what remains' eyes were filled with intense hatred. Damn it! That Saint Sovereign Xie could not kill me, so he used the soul-shackling divine chain to shackle me in the depths of the extreme chill maze. The cold wave constantly invaded my body and Tao heart. I have been tortured for 500 million years. Sooner or later, I will die here, Su Fong also sighed. Suddenly, the old man stared at Su Fong and said, Now, hope has finally arrived. Su Fong was startled and immediately understood. Senior, you mean that I can save you? Chapter 30:26. A glint flashed in the old man's eyes, as if he had seen through all of Su Fong's secrets. Then, he smiled. The chaotic lock god chain is extremely tough. Even a Daozu expert would not be able to shake it in a short time. However, there is a power that is above any power that can destroy it. Su Fong's eyes lit up. Senior, are you talking about the primordial qi? Then, he was shocked. The old man could see that he had the primordial qi. His strength was indeed unfathomable. Su Fong hesitated. Senior, my strength is low and I am seriously injured. That is not a problem. The old man smiled embarrassedly. He waved his hand and took out a storage ring, which flew to Su Fong. Then, the old man said the conditions that made Su Fong's heart pound. There are 10 king-grade elixirs inside, enough for you to recover your strength. As long as you can help me get out of here, I can help you collect the Ice Bone Jade Essence and Ice Heart Flower. They will all belong to you. King-grade elixirs. Those Ice Bone Jade Essence and Ice Heart Flower will all belong to me? Su Fong was extremely shocked, and his eyes became incomparably hardy. However, Su Fong had the 7-colored Vajra Dao heart. His Dao heart and willpower were extremely strong. Faced with the temptation of such great treasures, he still remained calm. He asked, The ice bone jade essence and ice heart flower are treasures of heaven and earth. They are very useful even to a Daozu expert. Senior, are you not tempted by these two treasures at all and will give them all to me? The old man chuckled. You are very cautious. Fine, I will give you half of the ice heart flower and ice bone jade essence. You should be relieved now, right? If I want to get out of here, I still need Senior's help. How can I doubt Senior? Su Fang smiled embarrassedly. He found a place in the space and then entered Fuyao's cave abode to sit down. He took out the elixirs that the old man gave him and took out 10 of them. Sure enough, they were all elixirs that surpassed the peak of the best grade. Their aura was obviously different from any elixirs that Su Fang had ever seen. Just the fragrance of the elixirs made Su Fang hale and hearty. Su Fang was shocked and pleasantly surprised. This was a king-grade pill that surpassed the peak of the extreme grade. It was useful even to Dao Saints. Just one pill was extremely valuable and normal cultivators would not even be able to see it. Recover your strength as soon as possible and help the old man ruined Ash escape. We need to leave this place quickly. Su Fang grabbed an elixir and swallowed it. In fact, Su Fang did not completely trust the old man ruins. Once he let him out, there was an 80 to 90% chance that he would turn hostile and take the ice bone jade essence and ice heart flower for himself. Su Fang had to get his hands on the ice bone chalcedony and the ice heart flower no matter what. Even if he couldn't use them, they would definitely be of great help to Xuanxin's cultivation. Especially that ice heart flower. Shixien Daozu would probably be able to use it. How could Su Fang hand over such a treasure to someone else? However, Su Fang was not worried. As long as he could leave this place, there was no harm in giving all the treasures to the old man ruins temporarily. When he got out of the extreme frost maze and got in touch with Shixien Daozu, he would naturally be able to get the treasures back. The elixir melted as soon as it entered his mouth. The majestic medicinal power surged like a torrent. Su Fang hurriedly activated the Jiuxuan Limitless Sutra to refine the medicinal power. The king-grade elixir was indeed astonishing. After about 500 years, a heavenly mark formed in his Tao Palace, physical body and Dharma body. This meant that he was about to step into the peak of the lower Tao profound realm. Another 3,000 years passed. Su Fang was originally absorbing the power of the elixir without restraint. He did not expect that there would be movements in his body and Tao Palace. When Su Fang sensed it, he was so excited that a smile bloomed on his face. So it was Tribulation Qi. He hurriedly flew out of Fu Yao's cavern and used all his strength to attack. His body also gradually burned with flames. Waves of rumbling sounds came from his physical body. Each time, it shook until Su Fang nearly vomited blood. The tribulation fire started burning crazily with a huff, burning until the skin turned to ashes. Some incomparably ugly impurities seeped out layer by layer from within the flesh. Continuing for over a dozen days from start to finish, the tribulation fire finally gradually extinguished. The physical body, Tao Palace, and Dharma body all started reconstructing. The Tao Palace, Dharma body, and the insides of the physical body all had an additional heavenly mark. A total of 4 heavenly marks meant that Su Fang already became a middle-stage Tao Profound Realm cultivator at this time. Before coming to the Ice Soul Holy Region, Su Fang had just advanced to Tao Profound. Now, he reached the height of middle-stage Tao Profound Realm. Such an improvement speed was truly astonishing. This was also all thanks to the King-grade elixir. Otherwise, he also would not have such an astonishing improvement speed. This was also his first time consuming a King-grade elixir. That was why it had such a miraculous effect. Otherwise, how could there be such an astonishing speed? Consuming King-grade elixir again next time would not have such an astonishing effect anymore. Su Fang continued casting the Jiuxuan Limitless Sutra, absorbing the remnant power of the medicinal pills. At the same time, He also devoured ordinary medicinal pills and spiritual objects, gradually stabilizing his cultivation to the normal state of middle-stage Tao profound realm. Just as Su Fang was cultivating in the Fuyao abode, Old Man Ruin concealed himself in the cold current once more. What Su Fang never would have expected was that the current Old Man Ruin no longer had that amiable old man image from before. Although his appearance did not change at all, his face was shrouded in a layer of evil aura. Strange, evil flames burned in his eyes, looking very hideous. Su Fang stayed inside the Fuyao abode for 5,000 years from start to finish. Outside, only less than 100 years had passed. The Fuyao abode was already so astonishing. It was extremely helpful to Su Fang's cultivation. However, the consumption was also incomparably astonishing. On this day, Su Fang flew out of the Fuyao abode and cupped his fists in the direction of Old Man Ruin. "Senior, I've already recovered." Whoosh, the spiraling cold current split open, and Old Man Ruin appeared from the space. Divine light swept over Su Fang's body, and his eyes revealed surprise and joy. "I didn't expect you to have advanced another level. Looks like you're also a powerful genius of the human race. Looks like this old man's luck has arrived." Su Fang smiled embarrassedly and asked, "May I ask, Senior, how can I help you break the shackles? Come in, this old man will explain it to you in detail." Old Man Ruin waved at Su Fang. Su Fang leaped into the sky and flew into the space. Old Man Ruin lifted his red robe, revealing the Chaos God locking chain that shackled him. Su Fang took a closer look. The Chaos God locking chain was only as thick as a thumb. It was the color of chaos, and there were traces of mysterious and abstruse divine patterns left on it. It could be seen that the vast array and restriction it contained in the past had already been mostly broken by Old Man Ruin. It was a pity that the Chaos God locking chain was incomparably strong. Even with Old Man Ruin's strength, it was difficult to break it. Old Man Ruin said, "You only need to use your primordial chi to penetrate the Chaos God locking chain and wear it down bit by bit. With the amount of primordial chi you have now, you will need about 3 or 4 times to wear it down." So simple? Su Fang was surprised. However, he did not have a better way to use his primordial chi, so he could only follow Old Man Ruin's instructions and wear down the Chaos God locking chain bit by bit. Su Fang activated the primordial chi in his Tao Palace, enveloping the Chaos God locking chain and penetrating it inward. What Su Fang did not notice was that just as he was about to use his primordial chi to wear down the Chaos God locking chain, Old Man Ruin's deep eyes flashed with a smug and ferocious light. Who knew? Buzz buzz buzz. As soon as the primordial chi penetrated the first layer of the Chaos God locking chain, an extremely weak aura remained. It actually caused the heavenly secret life shrinking techniques Tao runes in Su Fang's Tao Palace to flash rapidly. When Su Fang had obtained my master's 10 direction seal in the Blood Valley, he had obtained a thought from the Divine Lord of 10 directions. It had been sealed in the depths of Su Fang's Tao Palace, and now it also trembled. The memories of the Divine Lord of 10 directions began to surge, and his voice rang out in Su Fang's mind. Understood. Su Fang instantly understood everything. This Old Man Ruin was not shackled here by some foreign race expert, holy sovereign Xieju, but by the Divine Lord of 10 directions. The Chaos God locking chain still had the remnant aura of the Divine Lord of 10 directions. As it was extremely weak and insubstantial, if Su Fang had not penetrated it with his primordial chi and caused the heavenly secret life shrinking techniques Tao runes to stir, it would have been impossible to discover any clues. Great waves surged in Su Fang's heart, but he did not reveal any abnormalities on the surface. He suddenly withdrew his primordial chi. The Old Man Ruin raised his white eyebrows and asked in surprise, "Why did you suddenly stop?" Su Fang gave an embarrassed smile and said somewhat embarrassedly, "Senior, that, can you help me retrieve the ice bone jade marrow and ice heart flower before I act?" The old man Ruin's expression instantly darkened, but he soon returned to normal. He said lightly, "What, are you afraid that I will go back on my word?" Su Fang said, "How would this junior dare?" "What this junior means is that if I can obtain the ice-bone jade marrow, my heart will definitely be much more at ease, and I will definitely work harder to help senior." "It seems that you still don't trust this old man. Fine, to make you feel at ease, this seat will help you retrieve the ice-bone jade marrow and ice heart flower. This old man is shackled by the primal chaos lock chain. Not only can I not walk out of this cage, but I also cannot condense my thoughts. However, I know the method to retrieve the ice-bone jade marrow and ice heart flower." As the old man Ruin spoke, he waved his hand and grabbed a cold wave from outside the boundary. Quickly condensed into a bottle that seemed to be refined from ice heart divine jade. Once the ice bone jade marrow leaves the ice heart divine jade, it will immediately turn into green smoke and dissipate. Furthermore, the ice bone jade marrow has not been refined. Ordinary cultivators will instantly suffer from frostbite if they touch it. If you use this bottle to store the ice bone jade marrow, nothing will happen. As for the ice heart flower, if other cultivators were to retrieve it, it would be a little troublesome. However, for you, it is a piece of cake. You only need to wrap your palm with primordial chi, then pluck the ice heart flower and seal it. You must not let the aura of the ice heart flower seep into your body, or you will instantly freeze to death. The old man Ruin patiently explained to Su Fang and opened the space. Su Fang looked overjoyed. He grabbed the bottle and flew out of the space. Chapter 30:27. With two treasures in his hands, Su Fang did not feel much joy in his heart. The reason was simple. Being trapped in the eye of the storm in the deepest part of the extreme chill maze, with his strength, it was impossible for him to get out of here. What use were the best treasures? The old man Ruin said with a grin, "Little fellow, the treasures are in your hands. You should be relieved now, right? Why aren't you helping this old man break free from his shackles?" Su Fang smiled and suddenly asked, "Didn't Senior want half of the ice bone jade marrow and ice heart flower? Why don't you ask me for them now?" The old man Ruined was startled, and then waved his hand generously. "To make you feel at ease, I'll leave them all with you. When this old man breaks free from his shackles, it won't be too late for you to give me half then." Su Fang suddenly gave a cold laugh. "You're planning to wait until I help you break free from your shackles and then take them all for yourself, right? The reason you're so generous is only because you know that all the ice bone jade marrow and ice heart flower are already in your pocket, right?" The old man Ruin chuckled. "Little fellow, you really know how to joke. What kind of person is this old man? Why would I snatch treasures that belong to you? What kind of person are you? Although I'm not very clear, I know that you're definitely not some old man Ruined. If I'm not wrong, you should be the foreign race expert Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu that you spoke of, right?" Su Fang looked at the old man Ruined, his eyes full of mockery. "Unexpected, really unexpected. With this seat strength, I was actually seen through by a mere profound Tao cultivator like you. As expected of the successor of the Divine Master of 10 Directions." The successor of the Divine Master of 10 Directions? I'm not some successor of the Divine Master of 10 Directions. I'm the direct disciple of Shi Xian Daozu. Shi Xian Daozu's disciple? A trace of fear appeared in the old man Ruin's eyes, but then he gave a cold laugh full of evil. "No matter whose successor you are, since you've come to the extreme chill maze, it's hard for you to escape from this seat's palm." Su Fang gave a disdainful sneer. "You're shackled by the Divine Master of 10 Directions and can't even walk out of that small space. What can you do to me?" The old man Ruins laughed coldly. "Human brat, have you forgotten how you came in?" Su Fang's expression instantly changed. You can actually control the cold wave and the demonic ice voice?" The old man of the Ruins smiled smugly. "I've been shackled in this cold wave for 500 million years, constantly being attacked by the cold wave of the extreme chill maze. With my strength, even if I'm shackled, controlling the cold wave and the demonic ice sound is no big deal. Su Fang immediately came to a realization. The eruption of the cold wave was definitely not a coincidence. It was the work of the old man ruined, no, the holy sovereign Xie Zhu. Su Fang fought fiercely with the ice-praying mantis and used my lord's 10 directions seal. Holy sovereign Xie Zhu clearly sensed it and mistakenly thought that Su Fang was the successor of the 10 directions divine lord. That was why he controlled the cold wave to suck Su Fang into the space inside the eye of the storm. Most of the experts of the Ice Soul Sacred Clan who entered the extreme chill maze in the past were captured by Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu and then devoured. Human brat, help me get out of here obediently. Maybe I'll let you live if I'm happy. Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu laughed arrogantly, and evil flames began to burn on his body. His entire person turned into a burning flame state. Evil chi filled the sky, and he no longer looked like a kind old man. I still underestimated the strength of this foreign race expert. Su Fang's heart sank to the bottom bit by bit. Now that he was in a desperate situation and facing such a powerful foreign race expert, even if he had heaven-defying means, there was nothing he could do. Su Fang tried to find a ray of hope in this desperate situation with his future eyes, while stalling for time. He asked, Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu, you should be a powerful foreign race expert. Why have you been shackled here by the 10 directions divine lord? Humph, do you think the 10 directions divine lord is a nobody? He's a peerless figure that your human race has never seen before. With the strength of a half-step Daozu, he was able to fight against the Daozu. It's a pity that your human race can't tolerate such a peerless figure. The Daozu personally tried to kill him, but he still managed to escape. Stupid human race, if you had used all the power of the human race to support the 10 directions divine lord, he would definitely have been a peerless expert that surpassed the Daozu. I originally planned to devour the 10 directions divine lord while he was heavily injured, but who would have thought that he was so crafty? I was caught off guard and fell into his trap. Instead, I was shackled by him. I have an undying body, so he couldn't kill me. He could only shackle me here. Damn that 10 directions divine lord. He made me suffer the attack of the cold wave every day for 500 million years. When I get out, I'll pay him back tenfold. Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu gnashed his teeth. His voice was filled with resentment. Clearly, he hated the 10 directions divine lord to the core. While Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu was cursing the 10 directions divine lord, Su Fang had also made countless deductions. Finally, an idea flashed through his mind. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that the only chance of survival was in Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu? Human brat, you'd better not use your little tricks in front of me. This time, you have no other choice but to help me escape. Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu was an expert. He could tell at a glance that Su Fang was using a divine ability. He sneered disdainfully. Su Fang snorted. If I help you escape, will you let me go? We'll die either way. Why don't we die here together? Human brat, you have no ability to resist at all in front of me. Even if you want to die, you'll have to get my permission. Brat, the elixir I gave you is good, right? Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu laughed wildly, his flames dancing wildly. Is there something wrong with the king-grade elixir you gave me? Su Fang's divine light flickered as he hurriedly checked his body. The result made Su Fang despair again. His 7 colors Vajra Dao heart was covered in a layer of faint red light. It clearly came from the king-grade elixir. Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu said smugly, Human brat, those elixirs have fused with my seed of will. It's already seeped into your Dao heart. If I want to, I can take your life at any time. Even if I die, I won't let you get what you want. That's not up to you. Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu said in an evil and domineering voice. Then, he moved his mind. In an instant, Su Fang's Dao heart was enveloped in crimson flames. An evil aura seeped into the depths of his Tao heart and controlled his will. Then, it controlled his body and Tao palace. Su Fang felt that he had completely lost control of himself. The only thing that belonged to him was his consciousness. Brat, be my slave obediently. When I break free, I'll refine you into a puppet. That's right, isn't it? Su Fang could only watch helplessly as Sacred Venerate Xie Zhu laughed sinisterly and walked step by step into the space amidst the cold current. Su Fang felt that he had become a puppet whose fate was controlled by someone else. Everything was out of his control. This feeling of helplessness made him despair. Although there was a glimmer of hope in his divination, he was now completely under Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu's control. How could he grasp that glimmer of hope? No. I'm not completely controlled. Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu can only control my will, but not my fate. I still have the heavenly mandate Dharma body. Even the Xie Zhu sacred tribe can't control my heavenly mandate Dharma body. Thinking of this, Su Fang's despairing heart was rekindled with hope. As long as he had the destiny Dharma body, it meant that his fate was still in his hands. There was hope for him to control his own fate. Su Fang would never give up this last glimmer of hope. Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu immediately sensed it. He sneered in Su Fang's mind. Human brat, you'd better give up on those unrealistic thoughts. In front of me, no matter how capable you are, you can't do anything. However, Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu was still not at ease. His consciousness thoroughly checked Su Fang's body, Tao Palace, and Dharma body. As he checked, Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu clicked his tongue in admiration. I didn't expect this, I really didn't expect this. Even I have to admire you, human cultivator. A mere Tao profound realm cultivator actually cultivated Jiuquan Tao Palace and has so many Dharma bodies. Every Dharma body is so extraordinary. Heaven-piercing blood king vine? Your physical body has actually fused with the heaven-piercing blood king vine. That's a top life form of the foreign race. It's actually fused with a human. Unbelievable, truly unbelievable. Lux Spider. There's actually a legendary Lux Spider. Why is the heart of that massacred Dharma body so powerful? That's actually Slaughter's heart. Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu's admiration quickly turned into surprise, shock, and finally, ecstasy. I thought that the 10 Directions Divine Lord was a peerless genius that no one in the human race could surpass. I didn't expect that a little cultivator like you would actually be even more extraordinary than him. In the future, you will definitely become a peerless expert of the human race. You might even have the chance to take that legendary step. Brat, I've changed my mind. I won't kill you. Instead, I'll raise you. When you grow up, I'll take over your body. Perhaps I'll also have the chance to become a Daozu, or even surpass a Daozu. Ha ha. Could it be that this is what you humans often say, extreme misfortune brings joy? Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu was very excited and proud. You'd better help me get out of this damned place first. Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu controlled the primordial qi in Su Fang's Tao Palace to surge out of his body. It wrapped around the weakest part of the Chaos Lock God chain and seeped into it. Just as Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu had said, the Chaos Lock God chain burned as if it had been placed in a fire. It instantly turned red and began to disintegrate bit by bit, turning into particles that broke away from the Chaos Lock God chain. I have to find a way before Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu breaks the Chaos Lock God chain. The only thing that can turn the situation around is this Chaos Lock God chain. Su Fang released his heavenly mandate Dharma body without hesitation. Chapter 30:28. If Saint Sovereign Xie Zhu had been a human expert like Xianjing, it would not have been difficult for him to discover Su Fang's destiny Dharma body. However, he was a foreign expert after all. He was evil and cruel by nature and naturally knew nothing about fate. Not only could he not control Su Fang's destiny Dharma body, he could not even sense that Su Fang had infiltrated his destiny Dharma body into the primal Chaos God chain. Moreover, he was confident in his strength and had taken control of Su Fang. How could he take Su Fang, a mere profound Tao cultivator, seriously? It was precisely because of this that Su Fang was able to take advantage of this opportunity. The arrays within the primal chaos god lock chain were incomparably vast. Some of them had already been broken, while others had lost their power due to the passage of time. They were all dead arrays. Fortunately, this was the case. Otherwise, Su Fang's destiny dharma body would not have been able to enter so easily. Su Fang did not know what he was looking for. He could only rely on the eye of true future to predict the future and hope that his destiny dharma body could find a chance of survival within the primal chaos god chain. When Su Fang's destiny dharma body reached the deepest part of the primal chaos god chain, it was shocked to see a figure. Su Fang was extremely familiar with this figure. It was the domineering and wild Divine Lord of 10 Directions that he had seen in the memories of the Divine Lord of 10 Directions. He did not expect the Divine Lord of 10 Directions to leave behind a will in the primal chaos god chain. After a careful examination, the figure did not move at all. Su Fang then sensed it and discovered that the will did not have a consciousness. It was formed from the combination of an array and will. The Divine Lord of 10 Directions left behind this will to suppress Saint Sovereign Siezhu. Because of the passage of time, its energy and consciousness have disappeared, leaving behind only a remnant will. If I can fuse my strength into this remnant will, I can activate the primal chaos god chain once more and completely shackle Saint Sovereign Siezhu. This is my chance. Su Fang made a bold conjecture after some thought. His speculation might not be 100% accurate, but he had no other choice. Once Holy Sovereign Siezhu escaped, he would be in deep trouble. He had no choice but to take the risk. The Tianming battle body left the depths of the matrix and returned to the Holy Ji Palace. Then, Su Fang's heavenly mandate avatar began to activate the heavenly secret life shrinking technique. Tao runes flashed out from the Palace of the Way, releasing the aura of Tao runes. Inside the Palace of the Way, the void rumbled with the thunder of fate. Holy Master Siezhu lived up to his reputation as a peerless alien race master who was half a step away from Daozu. He immediately sensed that a great threat was about to descend. Immediately, a thunderous voice resounded in Su Fang's mind. "Human brat, you still haven't given up? You are courting death." Boom. An evil will instantly dominated Su Fang's will and consciousness. Holy Sovereign Siezhu was planning on completely devouring Su Fang's consciousness with his powerful will. This way, although it would affect his use of the primordial qi, it would completely eliminate the hidden danger. At the same time, the thunder of fate suddenly erupted with the void and powerful power of fate, bombarding Su Fang's Tao heart. Under the power of the thunder of fate, which could wipe out all fate and will, Holy Sovereign Siezhu's will crumbled layer by layer. The power of the thunder of fate swept out from his body and extended to Holy Sovereign Siezhu's void fate. Holy Venerate Siezhu seemed to have been struck by lightning. His body that was burning like a pillar of fire suddenly trembled, and the flames dimmed a little. This alien race master's strength was extremely shocking. Even Su Fang's thunder of fate couldn't kill him. It only made him suffer a great loss. "Brat, you're dead!" Holy Sovereign Siezhu roared furiously. He had thought that Su Fang was a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Once he used Su Fang's primordial qi to break the primal chaos godlock chain, he could do whatever he wanted with Su Fang. Who would have thought that the lamb waiting to be slaughtered would suddenly bare its fangs and bite him? How could he not be furious? "You should be the one to die." Su Fang regained control of the Tao Palace. Although it was only for a split second, it was more than enough. Primordial qi erupted as he activated the Jiuxuan Infinite Sutra. All the remaining primordial qi in the Tao Palace instantly seeped into the depths of the primal chaos godlock chain. As expected, Su Fang wasn't disappointed. The remnant will of the God Lord of 10 directions in the depths of the formation instantly sucked up all the primordial chi. Then, the formation within the God Lord of 10 directions began to operate, and its divine might seeped into every corner of the primal chaos godlock chain. The formation that had been dormant due to the lack of energy suddenly erupted with astonishing divine might. The primal chaos godlock chain unleashed a primal chaos xian guang that swept out. Swish, swish, swish. The moment Saint Sovereign Xie Zhu's body of flames came into contact with the primal chaos xian guang, black smoke began to rise. Impossible! How could you activate the primal chaos godlock chain? The xian guang unleashed by the primal chaos godlock chain was a lethal counter to Saint Sovereign Xie Zhu. He was in so much pain that his body began to warp and distort as he howled in pain. The evil energy that erupted from his body blasted Su Fong out of the dimension. Su Fong rolled on the ground. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. His aura weakened at an astonishing speed. His hair turned white at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the end, it turned snow-white. His appearance changed from a 17-year-old to a 60-year-old. The stronger the enemy that the lightning of destiny targeted, the more lifespan Su Fong would lose. Holy Master Xie Zhu was a peerless master comparable to a half-step Dao ancestor of the human race. Su Fong had used the thunder of fate against him. Not only had he failed to kill him, but he had almost died because of the exhaustion of his lifespan. It was all thanks to his boundless lifespan and the destiny Dharma body that he had cultivated. Otherwise, he would have been reduced to a pile of bones just from the loss of his lifespan. However, Su Fong had no other choice. He had broken free from Saint Sovereign Xie Zhu's control in the end, so the loss was quite worth it. "Human brat, I'm going to kill you!" Saint Sovereign Xie Zhu was completely infuriated. He had almost lost his mind. He ripped open the space within the frost wave again, planning to control the frost wave around him to kill Su Fong. However, the primal chaos godlock chain unleashed a series of primal chaos xian guang again, burning him to the point where he shrieked. His body constantly shrank and squirmed as he let out another series of miserable cries. Su Fong immediately relaxed. He hurriedly entered Fu Yao's cave dwelling and sat down in the time formation. He urged the heaven-piercing blood king vine to frantically devour the life aura of the chrysalis cultivators. With Su Fong's current cultivation and boundless lifespan, the life aura of those ordinary chrysalis cultivators was no longer of much use to him. Fortunately, there was still a supreme expert of the chrysalis. Su Fong hadn't been willing to use him all this time, so he couldn't care less now. The heaven-piercing blood king vine's abilities were shocking, but it had lost too much lifespan this time. Its recovery was extremely slow. Time flew. Su Fong had spent over 5,000 years in the formation. Only then did he recover some of his vitality. He went from looking like he was in his 60s to being in his 40s. Only then did Su Fong activate his profound Yang Dharma body and use the Yang reversal technique. Together with the heaven-piercing blood king vine, his recovery speed increased by several times. After spending another 10,000 years in the formation, Su Fong's blood fury Dharma body flew out of Fu Yao's cave dwelling. He shouted coldly at the frost wave, "Xie Zhu, you're not dead yet, are you? If you're not dead, talk to me." The frost wave parted with a whoosh, revealing Saint Sovereign Xie Zhu. At this moment, he had turned back into his human form. However, he was no longer the kind-looking old man from before. Instead, he looked like a horrifying mummy. His flesh and blood had withered, making him look extremely ferocious. "Human brat, just you wait. Once this king recovers slightly, this king will definitely skin you alive, pull out your tendons, and then extract your soul essence. You will be tormented in this king's evil flames for eternity." Saint Sovereign Xie Zhu's gloomy voice was filled with resentment. He had been shackled here for 500 million years. He had been tortured every moment. Now that he finally had a chance, he thought he could escape. Who knew that not only would he fail at the last step, but he would also suffer such a huge loss? How could he not be angry? Su Fang sneered. I'm afraid you won't have a chance. Saint Sovereign Xie Zhu snorted. With your strength, don't even think about escaping from the eye of the frost wave storm. You can only wait for death here. How dare you think you can escape from my control? Xie Zhu, you've probably forgotten. I told you before that my master is Shi Xian Daozu, and he's in the Ice Soul Sacred Region right now, Su Fang said coldly, as if victory was already in his hands. Shi Xian Daozu? He's one of the most powerful beings of the human race. I'm naturally afraid of him. But how could he be so coincidental as to be in the Ice Soul Sacred Region right now? Believe it or not, he's currently discussing the Tao with Ancestor Snow of the Ice Soul Sacred Clan. When he learns that I've gone missing in the Extreme Chill Maze, he'll definitely come looking for me. Who do you think is stronger, you or my master? Saint Sovereign Xie Zhu was silent for a moment before he sneered. You're using Shi Xian Daozu to scare me because you're worried that he won't be able to find this place in a short time. When I recover some of my strength, I'll directly devour you, right? That's right. I'm indeed worried about that. Aren't you afraid that my master will find this place before you recover? Even if you recover first and devour me, how can you survive when my master finds this place? Why don't we make a bet? Cunning human brat, you're as cunning as the divine lord of 10 directions. What do you want to say to me after saying so much? Since we're both trapped here, why don't we make a deal? When the time comes, we'll both be able to escape. Saint Sovereign Xie Zhu sneered disdainfully. A deal? I can crush a mere profound Tao cultivator like you to dust with a single finger. What right do you have to make a deal with me? Su Fang said domineeringly. Because your life is in my hands. If you don't agree to the deal, you won't be able to escape death whether I live or die. Saint Sovereign Xie Zhu was silent for a long time before he said coldly, Tell me, what kind of deal? Chapter 30:29. The deal is simple. Even if I stay here, I cannot help you escape. At worst, we will die together. Rather than that, why don't you help me leave this place? When I have enough power, I will come back and help you leave. That way we will both be free. Help you leave first? Holy Sage Xie Zhu laughed wildly. I am an undying being. Who knows how long I have lived? Do you think I will believe your nonsense? If I send you out and you attract the Daozu of Shi Xian, I will be dead for sure. Su Fang's blood fiend avatar said, I can swear on my Tao heart to the heavenly Tao. If I break the oath, I will be punished by the heavens. If you don't believe me, I can tell you the truth. The human world has just finished the Jiuxuan Heavenly Selection to select the best human prodigies. The number 1 Jiuxuan Heavenly Selection is me, Su Fang. I swear on my Tao heart. You won't doubt me, right? When ordinary cultivators swore on their Tao heart, it was no different from farts. It did not count at all. However, for cultivators who had surpassed Tao Master, especially peerless prodigies like Su Fang, no one dared to break the oath. The heavenly Tao had its own will. Once one broke the oath, even if they would not be punished by the heavens, their Tao heart would be covered in dust. In the future, they would encounter bottlenecks in their cultivation. Such a loss was fatal for any prodigy. You are the number 1 prodigy of the human world. No wonder. Unfortunately, I really regret it. Holy Sage Xie Zhu was first shocked, and then he regretted it. Clearly, he regretted being too careless and allowing Su Fang to escape. Otherwise, he would have been very lucky this time. There was a moment of silence. Holy Sage Xie Zhu snorted. Even if you kill me, it will not do you any good. Instead, you will be punished by the heavenly Tao. I believe your oath. However, why can't you help me leave now? I can still take you away. You almost tricked me before. Do you think I will still believe you? You are a foreign race. Oaths to the heavenly Tao have no effect on you. Holy Sage Xie Zhu snorted in tacit agreement. If Su Fang really released him, he would not let Su Fang go. Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu was obviously tempted. He said, "Let me think about it." Who knew? Su Fang continued, "I have another condition." "Speak." "Once I help you get out, I can also help you recover your strength. However, you must serve me for 10 million years. Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu said angrily, "Human brat, don't push your luck. What kind of powerful existence am I? Why would I work for a lowly lifeform like you?" Low-level lifeform? Su Fang, used less than 10 million years to go from being a mortal in a low-level world to becoming the #1 genius of the human race. I've cultivated the Jiuxuan Dao Palace, and I also have the spider, the sky-piercing blood king vine, the slayer's heart, and many other extraordinary abilities and treasures. My future achievements will only be greater than yours. I'll help you break free from your shackles, let you live, and even help you recover. You'll only serve me for 10 million years. Isn't that a disgrace to you? Su Fang's eloquence made Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu speechless. Deal. After thinking for a while, Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu agreed decisively. Then, Su Fang followed the agreed terms of the deal and swore to the heavenly Tao with his Tao heart. As soon as he said that, a thunderous sound came from the void. Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu said, "You're indeed a peerless genius of the human race. You swore to the heavenly Tao, and the heavenly Tao responded. Looks like I have to believe you this time." Su Fang said, "Even if you don't believe me, I have to believe you. Your so-called undying existence is not absolutely undying. In fact, you're more afraid of death than any other life form." Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu snorted. "Wait until I recover some strength, and then I'll help you leave. If the Shi Xian Daozu really comes during this time, I'll be dead for sure." Su Fang's blood-fiend body flew back to Fuyao Cave abode and entered the Dao Palace. Only then did he feel relieved. In fact, he had no choice but to make this deal with Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu. Su Fang was very confident in the Shi Xian Daozu. If he knew that Su Fang had gone missing in the extreme chill maze, he would definitely come here. However, what worried Su Fang was that no one knew how long the discussion between the Shi Xian Daozu and Ancestor Snow would take. If it took tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years, when Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu recovered his strength, there would be no chance for him to make a comeback. He also wasn't sure if Bing Agile had escaped the cold wave. If she had died in the cold wave, it would be even worse. With the Shi Xian Daozu's strength, it would be difficult for him to find Su Fang in the vast extreme chill maze. However, it wasn't as if Su Fang didn't get any benefit. He obtained the Ice Bone Chalcedony and the Ice Heart Flower, as well as a half-step Daozu expert like Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu, who would serve him for tens of thousands of years. In fact, he didn't lose anything. No matter what, this deal was worth it. Su Fang wasn't afraid that Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu would go back on his word. The next time he came, he would naturally wait until he was strong enough to control Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu. Without absolute confidence, he would never come here again. This deal with Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu was tantamount to asking a tiger for its skin, but in the end, he succeeded. He cultivated in Fuyao Cave abode for another 3,000 years. Su Fang still couldn't completely recover his consumed lifespan to its peak state. The main reason was that the losses this time were too heavy. In addition, his life force was incomparably vast. The life force of the strongest expert of the chrysalis couldn't make up for it. However, he had now returned to his 30s and was completely free from the threat of death. Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu suddenly transmitted his thoughts. "Kid, come out. I'll send you out now." So fast? Su Fang wasn't surprised. He flew out of Fuyao Cave abode. Seeing Su Fang's shocking recovery speed, Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu was shocked again. "Xie Zhu, it's only been a few decades. You've already recovered your strength?" Su Fang was also very surprised. I only need to control the cold wave and send you out of the eye of the storm. At most, you'll have to endure the backlash of the chaotic god lock chain again. Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu was obviously afraid that Shi Xian Daozu would come at any time. Su Fang's talent and ability were too shocking. The more Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu thought about it, the more frightened he became. If such a genius disappeared here, it would definitely cause a commotion among the human experts. They could come at any time. How could Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu not be worried? Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu said worriedly, "Kid, remember your promise. You have to help me recover." "Don't worry. I, Su Fang, always keep my promises." "That's good. After you get out, you'd better collect the spiritual items I need to recover. Otherwise, even if I get out, I won't be able to work for you for a long time. At that time, don't blame me for not keeping my promise." "What kind of spiritual items do you need to recover?" "It's actually very simple. It's an alien flame born naturally in the chaos. Get me a dozen alien flame seeds. After I merge with them, I'll be able to recover." Su Fang was instantly furious. "A alien flame born naturally in the chaos? Xie Zhu, do you think I, Su Fang, am Daozu? Where can I find such a spiritual item for you? You actually want a dozen of them. You swore to the heavenly Tao with your Tao heart. Do you want to go back on your word? Haha. Hurry up and activate your primordial qi to defend yourself. I'll send you out now." Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu let out a burst of arrogant laughter. Su Fang couldn't help but grit his teeth. He thought he had picked up a powerful expert. He didn't expect him to need a supreme spiritual item. It was obvious that Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu was deliberately asking for too much. "Let's get out first." Primordial qi surged out of his body and formed a layer of defense around him. With a whoosh, a wave of cold suddenly separated from the surrounding space and wrapped around Su Fang. The wave of cold rolled and wrapped around Su Fang. He disappeared into the swirling cold storm. Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu was affected by the power of the Chaos God lock chain. He screamed again and again in the depths of the storm. In a spacious cave. This was the ice cave where the ice-praying mantis was. Being Agile waited for the wave of cold to recede before returning here. Su Fang had been swept away by the wave of cold. Being Agile was worried that Ancestor Snow and Shi Xian Daozu would blame her when she returned, but the Ice Heart Divine Jade was more important to her. Also, the ice-praying mantis had been swept away by the wave of cold. It was the perfect time to harvest the Ice Heart Divine Jade. She wouldn't give up so easily. Harvesting the Ice Heart Divine Jade was extremely difficult. Even with Bing Agile's strength, she had only managed to harvest 3 palm-sized pieces of Ice Heart Divine Jade after several hundred years. Wang. Bing Agile suddenly sensed a disturbance in her body. She flipped her right hand, and a vibrating Bell Xian Bao immediately appeared in her palm. That human cultivator is still alive. Shock and disbelief appeared in Bing Agile's eyes. In the extreme chill maze, the Ice Soul Holy Clan once had 2 peerless experts at the Tao Saint level who encountered the cold wave. In the end, one of them luckily escaped with the Xian Bao, while the other died in the cold wave. Even his corpse couldn't be found. There were more than a dozen Ice Soul Holy Clan experts who had surpassed the Tao Profound Realm who died in the cold wave. Su Fang was only at the lower Tao Profound Realm. No matter how heaven-defying his strength was, how could Bing Agile not be shocked when he reappeared after being swept away by the cold wave of the extreme chill maze after disappearing for several hundred years? The Xian Bao must have been swallowed by the ice-praying mantis after that human cultivator died, not because he's still alive. Bing Agile guessed in her heart. She used the Bell Xian Bao as the source to sense the location of the bell she gave to Su Fang. Who would have thought that the Bell Xian treasure was actually moving rapidly, and the direction it was moving towards was also where Bing Agile was at this moment. About 10 days later. Su Fang's thought pierced through the air. "Bing Agile, you're still here." Looking at the image of Su Fang formed by his thought, Being agile almost turned into an ice sculpture. How did you get rid of the cold wave? My master gave me a powerful rune talisman. With the help of the rune talisman, I was lucky enough to save my life. However, I was severely injured and only managed to recover a little now, Su Fang explained. Chapter 30. In less than 10 days, Su Fang's physical body arrived. Su Fang's aura was weak, and he had lost a large amount of his lifespan. However, he didn't look like he was in the middle of a cold wave. Despite her shock, Ice Dance could only believe Su Fang's words. When Bing Agile discovered that Su Fang's cultivation was already at the intermediate Dao Profound realm, she was shocked again. Next, Su Fang entered the Fuyao Cave abode to continue recovering, while Bing Agile continued to cut the Ice Heart Divine Jade. After another 300 years, Bing Agile collected a total of 5 pieces of Ice Heart Divine Jade. On the inverted icicles hanging from the ceiling of the cave, there was only a small portion of Ice Heart Divine Jade at the top. Almost all of it had been collected by Bing Agile, and the rest were of average quality. In addition, it was very difficult to collect, and Bing Agile was worried that there would be another cold wave, so she sent a message to Su Fang, and the two hurriedly left. Su Fang's lifespan had recovered a lot, and his age had returned to his 20s, which shocked Bing Agile again. Bing Agile followed the map and flew Su Fang through the maze-like Extreme Chill Maze. After about 100 years, they finally left the Extreme Chill Maze. We're finally out. Su Fang let out a long sigh of relief. Looking at the ice cave that led into the Extreme Chill Maze, he felt a lingering fear. This time, it could be said to be a narrow escape, and he had almost lost his life in the depths of the Extreme Chill Maze. However, he had taken a huge risk this time, and the return was also very shocking. This is the Ice Heart Divine Jade for you. Bing Agile took out a piece of Ice Heart Divine Jade and gave it to Su Fang. Thank you. Su Fang revealed a happy expression. Although he had the Ice Bone Jade Essence and Ice Heart Flower, which were of a much higher grade than the Ice Heart Divine Jade, it was still a priceless treasure. However, the Ice Heart Divine Jade was also a supreme treasure. It was especially useful for Xian Xin. Su Fang's happy expression was not completely fake. As for the Ice Bone Jade Essence and Ice Heart Flower, Su Fang naturally had no intention of sharing them with Bing Agile. After flying for more than 100 years, they finally returned to the Ice Soul Holy Clan's sacred mountain. After separating from Bing Agile, Su Fang returned to the Ice Palace where he had lived before. Shi Xian Daozu was still discussing the Tao with Ancestor Snow. Su Fang could only wait in the Ice Palace. He could use this time to cultivate in seclusion. When he returned to the human world, he would not have the time or opportunity to cultivate in seclusion for a long time. After entering Fuyao Cave abode, Su Fang sat down cross-legged in the time formation. He took out 9 pills. They were the king-grade pills that Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu had given him. The medicinal pill was indeed extraordinary, but it had been tampered with by Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu. Su Fang released his sensing power. Together with the Heavenly Secret Life shrinking technique, he penetrated into the inside of the pill to search carefully. As expected, there was an extremely ethereal aura inside the pill, which came from Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu. The aura was very vague. If Su Fang hadn't grasped Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu's aura and used the Heavenly Secret Life shrinking technique to sense it, it would have been very difficult to detect the aura. Su Fang activated the 7-colored Vajra Dao Heart, Xian Yang Will, and Taoist rhymes. He condensed his thoughts and enveloped one of the pills. He penetrated into the pill to constantly wear down the aura. Holy Sovereign Xie Zhu's strength was truly astonishing. Su Fang spent a Herculean effort and more than 100 years to refine the evil aura inside the pill. I finally succeeded. Su Fang wiped the sweat from his forehead. He was very happy. With Su Fang's current strength and status, he could not have come into contact with such amazing pills. One pill could allow Su Fang to advance a level. One could imagine how amazing the medicinal power was. Although it was impossible for him to advance another level with one pill, the remaining 9 king-grade pills were enough to allow Su Fang's strength to increase greatly. Next, Su Fang used more than 1,000 years to finally refine all the evil aura in the king-grade pills. Su Fang continued to settle down in Fuyao Cave abode and devour the king-grade pills. At the same time, he also cultivated various cultivation methods and abhijnas. Mainly, he focused on the Jiuxuan limitless scripture. This cultivation method was based on the 9 suns and 9 transformations. It was a heaven-bestowed scripture that resonated with the heavenly Tao. It was incomparably mysterious, vast, and profound. With the help of Slayer's heart, he could sense the heavenly Tao on a deeper level. Naturally, his cultivation was twice as fast with half the effort. However, he had only cultivated to the peak of the 4th level. The heavenly fate life shrinking technique and the heavenly divination mystic unravel were 2 supreme fate and heavenly fate abhijnas to Su Fang. He could only continue to settle down and cultivate. The blood fiend formation was also further fusing with Slayer's heart. However, it was not easy to completely fuse with it. The heavenly Tao body was also cultivating the yin-yang Tao art given by Dongxian Daozu. It made the universe inside the heavenly Tao body even more vast. However, Su Fang still could not find a suitable place to let the heavenly Tao body transform into the universe state. The main reason was that the human world was facing a catastrophe. In the Jiuxuan God domain, there was no place that was safe. Su Fang was also cultivating the extreme Tao Black Sun technique and the Tao of formation. The extreme Tao Black Sun technique contained many execution methods. Su Fang had yet to completely grasp it. With the help of the Luo Tian wheel to cultivate the Tao of formation, Su Fang's level of formation increased rapidly. Now, he had already broken through the limit of a level 5 formation and reached the height of a level 6 formation. In Fuyao Cave abode, Su Fang settled down in his cultivation state. His overall strength and ability were constantly increasing. After Su Fang completely refined the medicinal power of the 2 pills, he successfully condensed 2 heavenly marks. This meant that he had reached the peak of the middle Tao profound realm and could break through to the upper Tao profound realm at any time. Almost 100,000 years later, Su Fang seemed to hear a void trembling from the heavenly Tao. Immediately after, he felt as if a layer of fog had been lifted. The mysterious and vast heavenly Tao was no longer a state of mystery to him. Instead, he could clearly grasp some of its essence. The mysterious scriptures of the Jiuxuan Limitless Sutra, those that he had comprehended in the past and those that he had yet to comprehend, were flashing with a wonderful rhythm in the Tao Palace. It was as if they were dancing along with the sound of the heavenly Tao. He did not expect that by constantly borrowing Slayer's heart to comprehend the heavenly Tao and cultivate the Jiuxuan Limitless Sutra, he had actually broken through the barrier of the peak of the 4th level and stepped into the 5th level. This meant that Su Fang had taken another big step on the Tao of cultivation. Su Fang was so excited that he could not close his mouth. The smile on his face was like a blooming flower. Good things came one after another. With a metamorphosis in his realm, coupled with the medicinal power of the royal grade pill, Su Fang's cultivation had also improved. About 1,000 years later, Su Fang's body gradually burned with a flame. It was not the mysterious yang flame, but the tribulation fire. With a smile, he leaped out of the Fuyao cave. The moment he appeared in the ice palace, the tribulation fire in his body burst out. The tribulation chi and tribulation fire instantly enveloped him. Sitting down cross-legged, his body set off a shocking shock. His physical body and Tao Palace were in violent turmoil. Then, the terrifying tribulation fire burned wildly. His physical body kept shaking, and the impurities of the placenta seeped out of his skin layer by layer. This continued for more than 10 days. Su Fang endured tremendous pain. The power of promotion began to impact his entire body. The Tao Palace, physical body, and Dharma body condensed the seventh heavenly mark. This meant that he had once again successfully broken through a step and successfully stepped into the upper Tao profound realm. If he took another step forward and stepped out of the limit of the Tao profound realm, it would be a brand new realm called the Tao void realm. Like the Tao profound realm, the Tao void realm also focused on cultivating the true essence of the heavenly Tao. However, after breaking through the Tao void realm, the physical body and Dharma body were dozens of times stronger than the Tao profound realm, even 100 times. After a very long time, the power of promotion calmed down. Su Fang sensed it and saw that from the physical body to the Tao Palace and Dharma body, from the power of life to primordial energy, magic power, they all had close to a tenfold increase. He beamed like a flower once more. Cultivating for another 10,000 years in the Fuyao cave, he finally raised his cultivation to the full state of upper Tao profound realm. But Su Fang also discovered some drawbacks of cultivating inside the Fuyao cave. Due to the difference in the flow of time, it had considerable interference on cultivation. This kind of influence still appeared to be negligible in the past and could be ignored. Now, after stepping into the upper Tao profound realm, the influence was rather shocking. In the future, using it for recovery was more or less the same. If used to cultivate cultivation methods, accumulating over the years, it would definitely form shackles on future cultivation, and even have deviations appear. Su Fang, quickly come over. He did not expect that it was actually Azure Feather and Bai Ling who suddenly transmitted their thoughts to Su Fang from inside the heavenly Tao Dharma body. A bad premonition welled up in Su Fang's heart. He hurriedly condensed a thought and entered the inner world of the heavenly Tao Dharma body. In a great hall at the top of the Builder Tree, Azure Feather, Bai Ling, Xiao Wanting, Wei Dao, Sang Qiu, and the others were all present. All of them had grave expressions. Clearly, something big had happened. Su Fang asked, "What's the matter?" Xiao Wanting said, "Brother, those cultivators and big goblin from the Pongsong universe have started to die in large batches one after another. There are no signs at all. It's really strange." Su Fang vaguely realized something and hurriedly sensed Su Fang's universe. His consciousness instantly sensed every corner of the universe clearly. Soon, Su Fang sensed that there was a mysterious power of destiny that was constantly depriving those cultivators and big goblin from the Pongsong universe of their destiny. However, those lives born from Su Fang's universe did not show any abnormalities. There's a problem with the Pongsong universe. It's probably going to die completely. All lives born from the Pongsong universe will perish along with the Pongsong universe unless they transcend the Pongsong universe. The thing that Su Fang had predicted a long time ago had finally come true at this moment. If the matter of the Pongsong universe was not resolved quickly, all the cultivators and big goblin from the Pongsong universe, including his father and relatives, who had not transcended, would not be able to escape the fate of being obliterated. After sensing for a while, Su Fang discovered that although Su Yaotian and his other relatives and friends were safe for the time being, he sensed that there was an invisible line of destiny in their fates that connected them to the Pongsong universe that was separated by endless time and space. Chi. Su Fang performed the life-severing blade and cut off the line of destiny that connected his father and friends to the Pongsong universe. Chapter 30-31. For Su Yaotian, Shu Yunkong, and the others, Su Fang could use the Heaven Secret Life shrinking technique to cut off their fate connection with the Pangang universe and resolve the crisis. However, most of his family and friends came from the small world of the Pangang universe. Su Fang couldn't use the Heaven Secret Life shrinking technique to change the fate of all his subordinates in the Great World. Moreover, the Pangang universe was Su Fang's hometown. He wouldn't watch the Pangang universe die out no matter what. He had to return to the Pangang universe as soon as possible. After waiting for about 500 years in the Ice Palace, Shi Xiandaozu's thought appeared in the ice palace. Su Fang, the matter here is over. We should leave the ice soul sacred region. Go and say goodbye to your Dao companion. You actually broke through to the upper stage of Dao profound realm? In such a short time you actually improved so much. Could it be that you had some fortuitous encounter? After discovering Su Fang's cultivation, Shi Xiandaozu was also quite surprised. Su Fang smiled embarrassedly. I did have some fortuitous encounters in the Ice Soul sacred region these years. I even obtained a few treasures in the Ice Soul sacred region. Then, he took out the Ice Heart Divine Jade and pleaded, I'll have to trouble Master to refine this Ice Heart Divine Jade so that Xuanxin can use this treasure to cultivate. Ice Heart Divine Jade? I didn't expect your fortune to be so good to actually obtain a piece of Ice Heart Divine Jade in the Ice Soul sacred region. If your Dao companion has this treasure, her cultivation of the Ice Soul sacred tribe's cultivation method will definitely improve by leaps and bounds. The phantom formed by Shi Xiandaozu's thought chuckled and waved his hand to grab the Ice Heart Divine Jade. With Shi Xiandaozu's strength, refining the Ice Heart Divine Jade into a Xian Bao was just a matter of thought. Soon, Shi Xiandaozu added his formation and will to the Ice Heart Divine Jade and refined it into a palm-sized jade pendant. He rolled it back to Su Fang. Su Fang sensed it and was surprised and delighted. Daofather Shi Xian had infused the formations of the formless Grand Dao into the Ice Heart Divine Jade. It was able to provide an endless supply of the coldest aura. With this jade pendant, Xian Xian's cultivation speed would increase by more than 10 times. Thank you, Master. Disciple also obtained a treasure. Su Fang then took out the bottle of ice bone chalcedony. Looks like you've had a fortuitous encounter this time. You actually found the ice bone chalcedony. That's good stuff, so you better keep it safe. Don't let the Icebone Saint Clan's cultivators find out about it. Otherwise, they'll risk their lives to take it from you. What's the use of the Icebone chalcedony? This item is a supreme treasure. Not only is it very useful for cultivators who cultivate inattribute cultivation methods, it also has the ability to nourish one's Dao heart. It's a pity that there aren't enough of them. If you had more than a dozen bottles, you could use the icy bone jade marrow to nourish your Taoist heart. It's very likely that your 7-luster Vajra Taoist heart will turn into an immortal Taoist heart. Immortal Dao heart. Su Fang's eyes shone brightly. Shi Xiandaozu continued, the ice bone chalcedony's cold attribute is too strong. It can't be used directly. I'll take care of it for you. You can let the 7 colors Vajra Dao heart slowly merge with it. It'll be very beneficial to your Dao heart. Even if you can't cultivate the immortal Dao heart, it'll be enough to transform your Dao heart again. Thank you, Master. Disciple also obtained a treasure. You're really lucky. You came to the Ice Heart Divine region and obtained so many treasures. What other powerful treasures do you have? Take them all out. Su Fang flipped his right hand and took out the ice heart flower sealed by nebulous qi. Shi Xiandaozu's divine light changed instantly. He hurriedly released a trace of intent to cover the ice heart flower's aura completely. Then, he transmitted his divine will. This is the ice heart flower? Su Fang, where did you get such a supreme treasure? Disciple obtained the ice bone chalcedony and the ice heart flower in the depths of the ice heart divine region's extreme frost labyrinth. Su Fang didn't go into detail, nor did he mention Holy Sovereign Xie. I didn't expect you to be so lucky. This is probably because you devoured the violet fate heavenly dragon of that Hong Tian divine region cultivator. Is the ice heart flower very powerful, Master? It had to be a powerful treasure. How could it be ordinary if it could shock even Shi Xiandaozu so much? The ice heart flower is a supreme treasure that even someone as powerful as me covets. Don't you think it's powerful? If the experts of the Ice Soul Holy Clan learn that you have the ice heart flower, they will not hesitate to snatch it away and take it for themselves. It's that powerful, Su Fang was shocked. It seemed that he'd underestimated the ice heart flower's value. He hadn't expected this. He'd never imagined that he'd obtain such a shocking treasure after being dragged to the eye of the storm in the depths of the extreme frost labyrinth. Su Fang was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. Shi Xian Daozu urged, "Quickly put the ice heart flower away. Don't take it out in front of anyone in the future. Otherwise, it'll bring you great trouble." However, Su Fang suddenly said, "Master, it's a waste for me to hold on to such a treasure. It's better if I give it to you as a token of respect." "You're giving such a precious treasure to me?" Shi Xian Daozu was surprised. He stroked his beard and chuckled. "You're really willing to part with it? If it weren't for that, Master, I wouldn't have achieved what I have today. I wouldn't even be able to keep my life. What's there to be reluctant about? It seems that I wasn't wrong about you. You know how to repay kindness." Shi Xian Daozu nodded repeatedly. "Then," he continued, "this ice heart flower is indeed of great use to Master. Master will accept your filial piety. However, I only have half of it. Keep the other half. It will be of great use to you in the future." Without waiting for Su Fang to speak, Shi Xian Daozu waved his hand. The ice heart flower split into two. 3 of the ice crystals were sucked into Shi Xian Daozu's mental image. "You can't use the remaining ice heart flower for now. When you've merged with all the ice bone jade marrow, then slowly absorb the presence of the ice heart flower into your Dao heart. Maybe you'll be able to cultivate an immortal Dao heart then." "This ice heart flower can help me cultivate an immortal Dao heart. I don't dare to promise you. After all, the cultivation of the Dao heart mainly depends on continuous tempering. However, even if you can't cultivate an immortal Dao heart, as long as you merge with the ice heart flower, almost no Dao heart or intent attacks can shake your Dao heart. It can also suppress all evil thoughts. There's another benefit. You can easily deal with all cold and yin attribute attacks. You can even be immune to enemy attack." Shi Xian Daozu's words made Su Fang very unhappy. "Go say goodbye to your Dao companion. I've stayed in Ice Soul Sacred Region for long enough. I'm also worried about the human world." Shi Xian Daozu nodded. His mental image swept up half of the ice heart flower and disappeared into nothingness. Su Fang sealed the remaining half of the ice heart flower with primordial energy and sucked it into the deepest part of the Dao Palace. Then he sent a mental message to Bing Agile. Bing Agile quickly arrived at the Ice Palace. Sensing Su Fang's presence, she was shocked. You've advanced again? I was just lucky. Su Fang, even I have to admit that I admire you. Your cultivation talent is no less than that of those top-tier outsider creatures. In the future, you'll definitely be a peerless figure of the human race." After asking Su Fang's intentions, Bing Agile took Su Fang to the depths of Holy Snow Palace without hesitation. They arrived at Xuanxin's temporary residence, and entered the depths of the palace. Knowing that Su Fang was about to leave, Xuanxin was very calm. After a tender moment, Su Fang left behind the jade pendant personally made by Shi Xian Daozu and left the temporary residence. "Su Fang, although I'll never be able to keep up with your footsteps, I'll never be a burden to you. The separation now is only for eternity in the future." After Su Fang left, Xuanxin's cold eyes suddenly burst into tears. Su Fang flew out of the temporary residence and saw more than a dozen disciples of Holy Snow Palace paying respects to Bing Agile. Seeing Su Fang come out, the disciples of Holy Snow Palace showed incomparable reverence, especially the 3 tall women who had bullied Xuanxin. They were so scared that their bodies trembled. They were afraid that Su Fang would settle accounts with them later. Su Fang cupped his fists to the disciples of Holy Snow Palace and said, "My Dao companion is in Holy Snow Palace. Please take care of her. Su Fang will definitely repay you generously in the future." Bing Agile raised her snow-white eyebrows and said in a cold and dignified voice, "Su Fang is my good friend. Her Dao companion is naturally my good friend. If I hear that someone bullied her because she's a human cultivator, don't blame me for being impolite. The reason why she helped Su Fang was not only to fulfill her previous promise, but also because she saw Su Fang's astonishing speed of improvement. In the future, she would definitely become a powerful expert of the human race, or even a peerless Daozu. Therefore, she wanted to befriend and get closer to her. The disciples of Holy Snow Palace trembled and bowed one after another. Su Fang and Bing Agile left Holy Snow Palace. At this time, Shi Xian Daozu descended and shrouded Su Fang with a divine aura. He then escaped into the void and disappeared without a trace. After leaving Ice Soul Holy Domain, Shi Xian Daozu and Su Fang appeared in the chaotic void outside the domain. Shi Xian Daozu said in a deep voice, "Su Fang, the human race is in a critical situation. The southern profound divine domain is about to be occupied by the foreign races. Master must go to the southern profound divine domain. Only you can go alone." Then, Shi Xian Daozu took out a token and flew it to Su Fang. "Take this token and focus on cultivation after arriving at Shi Xian." "Yes, Master." Su Fang caught the token and absorbed it into his body through his palm. Then, he pleaded with Shi Xian Daozu, "Master, disciple wants to return to Pongtsang Universe to settle some old matters before going to Western Profound Divine Domain." "As you wish." Shi Xian Daozu gazed at Su Fang and said slowly, "Su Fang, from now on, Master will no longer protect you. Everything will depend on you." "Yes, disciple understands. Master will send you directly to the inner primal chaos not far from Pongtsang Universe." Shi Xian Daozu took out a Xian Bao. After activating it, it immediately turned into a glittering golden bridge. One end of the bridge was in front of Su Fang, while the other end disappeared into the endless primal chaos. It was unknown where it led to. This bridge-like Xian Bao was filled with the primordial energy that Su Fang was familiar with. It was clearly not an ordinary Xian Bao. It was definitely a supreme treasure that surpassed the king-grade Xian Bao. The distance between the outer primal chaos and the inner primal chaos of the human world was endless. With Shi Xian Daozu's strength, he still needed to use the Xian Bao to send Su Fang to the inner primal chaos. Chapter 30-32. A distorted divine power instantly enveloped Su Fang, making him unable to move. Then, it flew towards the other end of the bridge. Su Fang only saw the bridge below him flying continuously, time and space constantly changing. After an unknown amount of time, the shackles around Su Fang suddenly disappeared. He staggered and rolled out from nothingness. He hurriedly used divine power to stabilize his body. Looking over, he was still in the cold and dark chaotic void. But it was clearly different from the outer realm chaotic void. It was the inner realm chaotic void of the human world. Shi Xian Daozu was worthy of being the top existence of the human race. He actually directly sent Su Fang from the outer realm chaotic void into the inner realm chaotic void of the human world. Su Fang grabbed a disc-shaped Xian Bo. It was the Xian Bo fixing profound disc that was indispensable in the inner realm chaotic void. Activating the fixing profound disc and sensing, Su Fang discovered that this place was already not far from Pongtsang Universe. Of course, the so-called not far was only in relative terms. Su Fang estimated that with the speed of an ordinary profound Dao cultivator, it would take as long as 10,000 years to reach Pongtsang Universe from here. Su Fang took out Fu Yao's abode. After activating it, it turned into a giant Kuan Peng. And he entered the abode on the Kuan Peng's back. The Kuan Peng flapped its wings and immediately drilled into nothingness, disappearing without a trace. About 100 years later. There's actually someone fighting in the chaos? Fu Yao's abode was suddenly disturbed by spatial vibration while traveling through the void. He had no choice but to break through the void and reappear in the chaos void. Su Fang projected his sensing power inside Fu Yao's abode. Sure enough, there was someone fighting. To be precise, it was a human cultivator being chased by a chaos monster. That was a toad-like monster. It was 1,000 miles in size. Its entire body was covered with hill-like pustules. It looked disgusting and horrifying. The toad monster's eyes revealed a ferocious intent. Its entire body emitted a monstrous demonic aura. It let out a series of angry roars. The roars caused a large area of the chaos void to shake, even disturbing Fu Yao's abode. It was truly terrifying to the extreme. Su Fang was no stranger to this toad monster. Previously, when he was hiding from the executioner grandmother, he had encountered a monster like the sky-devouring poisonous toad. At that time, it was all thanks to the sky-devouring giant toad. Otherwise, it would have been very difficult for them to escape from executioner grandma's pursuit. The sky-devouring poison toad was a powerful monster that lived in the primal chaos. It had the talent of devouring the void and poison. Furthermore, in the outer realm chaos, the heaven-swallowing poison toad held a unique advantage. Even a formidable Tao profound cultivator like Execution Heart Granny had no choice but to keep a respectful distance from this monster. At this moment, the cultivator being chased by the sky-swallowing poisonous toad turned into a giant with a height of 1,000 feet. His whole body exuded a dazzling golden light. It was somewhat similar to the golden giant that Su Fang transformed into after using the giant transformation of King Kong. This person's strength was indeed extraordinary. He was a middle-stage Tao Profound Realm cultivator. Taking a step out, he directly escaped into the void. By the time he appeared, he was already several tens of millions of miles away. However, the strength of the sky-swallowing poisonous toad was even more astonishing. It crawled rapidly in the chaotic void, as if the chaotic void had no restraints on it. The space under its body shrank rapidly, and its speed was much faster than that of the cultivator's teleportation. It's actually him? Sensing that cultivator's aura, Su Fang was both shocked and astonished. What a coincidence! It was really a coincidence that he actually ran into an acquaintance. Su Fang was in the 9 underworlds of the Pongtsong universe, being chased by experts of the Tao Defiance Alliance. His physical body died, and only his primordial spirit and intent were left to break free from the shackles of the Pongtsong universe. He wandered in the chaotic void of the inner realm and encountered a giant that claimed to be the consciousness of God Lord Jin Wu. Fortunately, Shi Xian Daozu's consciousness appeared in time and saved him from the hands of God Lord Jin Wu. Otherwise, Su Fang would have been devoured by God Lord Jin Wu like a mosquito. The cultivator being chased by the toad monster was God Lord Jin Wu. In the past, Su Fang was not even an ant in front of God Lord Jin Wu. However, it was different now. Now, Su Fang was already an upper Tao Profound Realm expert and had grasped all kinds of extraordinary abilities. He did not need to worry about cultivators within the Tao Profound Realm. Even Tao Void Realm experts that surpassed the Tao Profound Realm. As long as they were not those truly powerful figures, Su Fang did not need to worry too much about them. It's really a cycle of karma. I didn't think that I would be able to meet God Lord Jin Wu again. Haha! Su Fang chuckled in the interior of Fu Yao's cave. When God Lord Jin Wu saw Fu Yao's cave from afar, he was both surprised and delighted. He immediately changed the direction of his escape and headed straight for Fu Yao's cave. Friend, this one is God Lord Jin Wu. I am being chased by the heaven-swallowing poisonous toad. Please lend me a helping hand. This one will definitely repay you generously. God Lord Jin Wu could also see that Fu Yao's cave was a powerful Xian Bao. It was definitely not something that an ordinary cultivator could possess. He thought that some peerless expert was passing by and immediately called out loudly. Su Fang smiled embarrassedly inside Fu Yao's cave. Asking me for help? A peerless figure that could completely obliterate me with a thought back then. Now, you want to ask me for help instead. Interesting, truly interesting. In less than 10 breaths, God Lord Jin Wu tore through the air and arrived. However, he did not stop for a moment but teleported away again. This person was truly despicable. He kept saying that he was asking for help, but in reality, he wanted to divert the trouble away. He lured that heaven-swallowing poisonous toad to Su Fang while he took the opportunity to flee for his life. The heaven-swallowing poisonous toad flew over with a monstrous demonic aura. When it saw Fu Yao's cave, a look of doubt flashed in its jade-green eyes. Then, the heaven-swallowing poisonous toad sucked fiercely in the direction of Fu Yao's cave. It actually planned to swallow Fu Yao's cave in one gulp. Fu Yao's cave flew towards the heaven-swallowing poisonous toad uncontrollably. If you want to blame someone, blame your bad luck. This lord is being chased, but you are watching the show from the side. Who else would I cheat if not you? God Lord Jin Wu, who had already fled far away, revealed a smug look when he saw this scene. Then, he continued to teleport away. Gui Gui, swallow that toad. Su Fang directly released Gui Gui. With his current strength, facing this heaven-swallowing poisonous toad that even a powerful elder like Executioner Grandma was wary of, there was no need for him to make a move. Gui Gui could deal with it. Gui Gui let out a strange cry filled with excitement. Clearly, it was very interested in the heaven-swallowing poisonous toad's blood and poison. Whoosh! The moment Gui Gui flew out of Fu Yao's cave, its body immediately began to bleed. It turned into a black-gray poisonous blood and rushed out with a whoosh. The heaven-swallowing poisonous toad was using its innate ability to swallow Fu Yao's cave. Caught off guard, it swallowed all the poisonous blood that Gui Gui had turned into. In an instant, the heaven-swallowing poisonous toad let out a roar filled with pain, causing the chaotic void to tremble violently. Fu Yao's cave was also shaken and sent flying backwards. Gui Gui's poison was already very shocking, and after swallowing Hu Yufei's mercury spirit, it had an astonishing penetrative ability. Now that it was swallowed into the heaven-swallowing poisonous toad's stomach, the poisonous blood immediately seeped into its body. The heaven-swallowing poisonous toad was originally a poisonous monster, but compared to Gui Gui's poison, it was still quite a bit weaker. Moreover, Gui Gui had corroded its body from within, so how could it be a match for Gui Gui? Sizzle! No matter how the heaven-swallowing poisonous toad struggled, it was useless. Gui Gui's poison quickly corroded its huge body into a pile of rotten flesh. After one incense stick's worth of time, the heaven-swallowing poisonous toad's huge body was completely swallowed by Gui Gui. Gui Gui was like a drunkard who had eaten and drunk to its heart's content. It flew unsteadily back into Fu Yao's cave, and was absorbed into Su Fang's body so that it could slowly digest the heaven-swallowing poisonous toad. God Lord Jin Wu, I still haven't settled my previous debt with you. How dare you try to use the heaven-swallowing poisonous toad to harm me? How can I let you go? Su Fang sneered and urged Fu Yao's cave to fly in the direction God Lord Jin Wu had fled. God Lord Jin Wu finally broke free from the heaven-swallowing poisonous toad's pursuit and breathed a long sigh of relief. Then he smiled smugly. Fortunately, this lord was smart enough to find a scapegoat. Otherwise, I would have been buried in that damned poisonous toad's stomach. Before he finished speaking, God Lord Jin Wu's divine light changed. Fu Yao's cave flashed out from 10,000 miles away, and Su Fang slowly flew out from within. Upper Dao Profound Realm Expert. Even an Upper Dao Profound Realm cultivator would find it hard to kill a heaven-swallowing poisonous toad. This person must have relied on that flying Xian Bao to be able to escape the heaven-swallowing poisonous toad's pursuit. God Lord Jin Wu was shocked and completely gave up on the idea of escaping. In his current state, there was no way he could escape, not to mention that the opponent's Xian Bao had an astonishing speed that surpassed that of a Dao Profound cultivator. Many thanks, Your Excellency, for saving my life. God Lord Jin Wu returned to his normal state and shakily bowed to Su Fang. I saved your life, but you wanted that heaven-swallowing poisonous toad to eat me. This is your repayment? Su Fang indifferently said. Misunderstanding, Your Excellency, you misunderstood. This one absolutely did not do it on purpose. Please forgive me, Your Excellency. When God Lord Jin Wu saw Su Fang's appearance, he immediately let out a cry of surprise, a look of confusion in his eyes. With his cultivation at the Middle Dao Profound Realm, anyone who had seen him before would not forget him. Su Fang's appearance naturally made God Lord Jin Wu recall matters of the past, but he did not dare to conclude that the youth in front of him was the person he had nearly devoured. Don't you find me familiar, God Lord Jin Wu? Su Fang sneered, looking at God Lord Jin Wu with ridicule and contempt. How do you recognize this one? You? Impossible. How is this possible? God Lord Jin Wu had already confirmed that this was Su Fang, but he did not dare to believe it. Back then, a strand of his thought had encountered Su Fang's divine thought phantom image in the chaotic void of the inner domain. At that time, Su Fang was just a tiny, low-level cultivator in the universe. In his eyes, Su Fang was even less than an ant. How many years had it been? Back then, a low-level universe cultivator that was not even comparable to an ant transformed into an upper Dao Profound Realm powerhouse with a shake of his body at this time. Furthermore, his strength was even stronger than his. How could he believe this? Su Fang coldly looked at God Lord Jin Wu. You're not mistaken. I am precisely that origin spirit that you nearly devoured like a mosquito. God Lord Jin Wu. You would never have imagined this, would you? Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. Chapter 30-33. God Lord Jin Wu begged Su Fang for mercy, but in reality, he had already made preparations. Before he could finish speaking, he was going to burn his thoughts and cultivation to escape at all costs. But who would have thought, a cold and murderous aura suddenly descended, slamming into God Lord Jin Wu's Dao heart and shattering it. You were just an ant in a low-level universe back then. How did you become so strong? God Lord Jin Wu was shocked and despaired. He never imagined that he would be as weak as a chicken in Su Fang's hands, unable to resist at all. A piece of trash like you only knows how to bully the weak and fear the strong. Your only use is to become my blood pig. Su Fang reached out and sucked God Lord Jin Wu's shackles into the Dao Palace. God Lord Jin Wu's strength was not bad, and his physical body was also very strong. He was perfect for a blood pig that could come in handy in the future. It's time to return to Pongtsang Universe. Suppressing God Lord Jin Wu was just a small interlude for Su Fang. He still had to hurry back to Pongtsang Universe. Pongtsang Universe. 9 divine suns hung high in the sky. They were no longer the divine suns that nourished all things in the world, but 9 blood-stained suns. The real divine suns had been completely devoured by the blood sun evil Sunday inside each blood sun. One could clearly see a blood tomb releasing evil death chi and evil chi, spreading to every corner of the Pongtsang universe along with the bloodlight. And this was just on the surface. The heavenly Tao laws of the entire Pongtsang universe had been completely eroded by the hostility of death, turning the Pongtsang universe into a world of death. The hostility of death replaced natural spirit chi and enveloped the entire universe. From a small world to a great world, there were no longer any living beings. Only a few divine worlds in the myriad worlds still had some cultivators, big goblin, and other living beings struggling at death's door. The Hunyuan celestial realm no longer existed, and the divine worlds and matter had all been reduced to ruins. However, Yuan Tiangong still existed. The chaotic Yuan Tiangong was created by the imperial people's transcendence, mountain guardians, and all the venerable sovereigns. It formed a world of its own in the Pongtsang universe and became the last living space of the Pongtsang universe. However, the heavenly Tao of the Yuan Tiangong universe had been completely devoured by the evil god. It was only a matter of time before the Yuan Tiangong universe was destroyed. The humans in the Yuan Tiangong universe were just struggling at death's door. In the deepest part of Yuan Tiangong, inside a palace, a dozen or so cultivators were seated cross-legged in a great hall. All of them were silent, causing the atmosphere in the great hall to become incomparably oppressive. Sitting cross-legged in the most dangerous position was none other than the peerless genius of the imperial people, Dixuan. The supreme existence of the imperial people had perished, and the reputation of the imperial people had plummeted. However, the foundation of the imperial people was still there, and they had used countless resources to cultivate Dixuan into a venerable sovereign. Currently, Yuan Tiangong was still under the control of the imperial people, but it was no longer as glorious as it used to be. A venerable sovereign suddenly said, "Dixuan, the foundation of the imperial people is incomparably strong. Can't you find a way to leave?" Dixuan was furious. If it was in the past, which venerable sovereign would dare to speak to him in such a tone? Now that the imperial people were in decline, everyone couldn't escape death, and the venerable sovereigns had also lost their respect for the venerable sovereigns. Dixuan shook his head and said, "Unless one transcends, who can escape from this universe?" The great hall fell into silence again. If we knew this would happen, we would have left with Su Fang. How would we be in this situation now? If we had left with Su Fang, not only would we not be waiting for death here, but we might also become venerable sovereigns in outer space. I regret it. If there's a medicine for regret, I'm willing to buy one with all my wealth. When the venerable sovereigns in the great hall mentioned Su Fang, it was too late for regrets, and they all sighed. Dixuan also regretted it in his heart, and he sighed helplessly. In the 9 Serenities, the former land of reincarnation was now completely in ruins. The river of the underworld had completely disappeared, and no souls could be seen anymore. That was because all the dead lives, along with their souls, had been swallowed up by the deathly qi. Those nether monsters were all gone, and the entire 9 Serenities had completely turned into a world of death filled with the deathly qi. A huge light wheel formed by Buddha's light floated in the void. It was the mirage kingdom of Buddha's light left by Ksitigarbha Buddha. However, at this moment, the Buddha's light was dim, and it obviously wouldn't last long. In the mirage kingdom of Buddha's light, Qian Gang sat cross-legged above the sea of bitterness. His gaze passed through the enchantment of the mirage kingdom of Buddha's light, and he revealed a bitter smile. I stayed because of the oath I made back then. I wanted to learn from Ksitigarbha Buddha and purify all the vengeful souls in the 9 Serenities. Now I'm the only one left in the entire 9 Serenities. Who else can I purify? Time flew. The lives in the Pan Tsang universe were waiting for the arrival of death in despair. On this day, 3 figures appeared high up in the sky. One of them was a Buddhist elder wearing a cloth cassock. If Qian Gang or Su Fang were here, they would recognize the identity of this Buddhist elder at a glance. He was Ksitigarbha Buddha. The other person was also a Buddhist cultivator. He had unkempt hair and a dirty face, and his clothes were ragged. He was a Buddhist ascetic monk. The last one was a middle-aged man with a square face. He had a mighty aura that dominated all directions. Lightning flashed faintly on his black robe, and his whole body exuded an astonishing destructive aura unique to lightning-type cultivators. Overbearing lightning flashed in the middle-aged man's eyes. His divine light swept across the 9 blood suns, and then he raised his sword-like eyebrows. FAQ, this low-level universe has obviously been devoured by the evil god. It's not worth the effort to spend on such a low-level universe. The ascetic monk put his palms together. My disciple, Ksitigarbha Buddha, was born in this universe and has deep karma with it. That's why I have to save him. Thank you for your trouble, Senior Myriad Thunder. Ksitigarbha Buddha also bowed to the middle-aged man and put his palms together. For the sake of the countless lives in the Pan Tsang universe, please save him. The ascetic monk continued, Senior Myriad Thunder is an elder of the Western Mystery Mountain. When the evil god descended to wreak havoc in Western mystery, Senior Myriad Thunder killed many of his followers. This time, you'll be able to easily resolve the crisis of the panned song universe. It turned out that this cultivator named Senior Myriad Thunder was a powerful elder from the Western Mystery Mountain of the Western Mystery Divine region. Senior Myriad Thunder revealed a proud and complacent expression. Then, he nodded and said, "FAQ, don't forget your previous promise. After I destroy the evil god of the panned song universe, you must let me comprehend the fury of Vajra thunder of the Buddhist sect." The ascetic monk put his palms together and said, "Of course. Then, I'll destroy the 9 evil sons first and destroy the blood tomb." Swoosh. Swoosh. Senior Myriad Thunder released 9,000 thoughts, which turned into a light wheel surging with lightning and rolled toward one of the blood sons. Rumble. The light wheel released monstrous lightning and covered the blood light of the 9 blood sons, turning the entire sky into a world of lightning. The terrifying sound of thunder reverberated throughout the entire panned song universe. The cultivators who mingled in Yuan Tiangong and were struggling at death's door were all shocked. After a moment of intense shock, the cultivators of the panned song universe cheered excitedly. All the top experts saw the 3 figures deep in the sky and knelt down to worship them. The heavenly thunder wheel enveloped one of the blood suns, which was engulfed by endless lightning. The light wheel spun endlessly, trying to destroy the blood suns. Ksitigarbha and the ascetic monk were shocked. Senior Myriad Thunder was at the peak of the upper Tao Profound stage. Using the heavenly thunder wheel to cast such a terrifying thunder spell, its power was far beyond the limit of the Tao Profound stage and even beyond the level of an ordinary Tao Void stage expert. Senior Myriad Thunder was very pleased to see the expressions of the 2 Buddhist cultivators. He stroked his beard and continued to release thoughts, merging them into the heavenly thunder wheel. Boom! All of a sudden, the heavenly lightning wheel burst out with a bloody light, and the evil, deathly aura dyed the lightning red. Then, a huge blood tomb quickly condensed from the blood light, suppressing the heavenly thunder wheel within. Puff! Senior Myriad Thunder lost 9,000 thoughts at once. After all, he was only a lower Tao Void stage cultivator. His body shook and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The divine light of Ksitigarbha Buddha changed instantly. The blood tomb released billowing chi of death and swept toward the 3 of them like raging waves. The ascetic monk took out a Buddhist staff and hit the chi of death with a beam of Buddhist light, shattering it layer by layer. "Senior, are you okay?" the ascetic monk asked Senior Myriad Thunder. "Humph. I was caught off guard and suffered a small loss." Senior Myriad Thunder snorted. Suddenly, boom, 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 the remaining 8 blood suns turned into blood tombs at the same time. The 9 tombs released the power of an evil array, shackling Senior Myriad Thunder, the ascetic monk, Ksitigarbha Buddha, and the entire panned song universe. Thunder surged in Senior Myriad Thunder's eyes. "You're just an evil god, a low-level universe master. How dare you be so arrogant in front of me? I'll destroy this low-level universe together with it." Ksitigarbha Buddha urged a beam of Buddhist light to form a defense. "Senior Myriad Thunder, you mustn't. Once you destroy the panned song universe, all the creatures in it will be destroyed. Even if you save them, it'll be difficult to cut off their karma with the panned song universe. They'll only be destroyed together with the universe. How can I allow a junior like you to tell me how to do things? Go away." Senior Myriad Thunder let out a thunderous roar, which made Ksitigarbha Buddha step back. True monarch Myriad Thunder cultivated the great Tao of Thunder and had a very violent temperament. He was caught off guard and had his 9,000 thoughts devoured by the bloody tomb. Evil God descended to the world and planned to devour him as well. This time, he was completely enraged and planned to destroy the entire Pongsong universe. With his powerful strength that surpassed Tao Profound, wanting to destroy the descending blood tomb might be somewhat difficult. But if he wanted to destroy a low-level universe without any scruples, it was not something difficult. At this moment, a huge beam of golden sword chi that was thousands of meters long appeared out of nowhere. The dazzling and sharp sword light instantly tore through the bloody light curtain. The 9 blood tombs shook at the same time, and the shackles covering the sky and the earth collapsed. Then, a beam of golden light broke through the sky, followed by a figure. Chapter 30-34. After suppressing God Lord Jinwu, Su Fong finally returned to the Pongsong universe. He activated the true Yang evil slaying sword and cut through the shackles of the 9 blood tombs. Su Fong! Su Fong is back! Su Fong actually returned to the myriad worlds from the outer world. Now that Su Fong is back, we're saved. Su Fong's voice spread throughout the Pongsong universe. Everyone was shocked and exclaimed when they heard his voice. Then, they fell into ecstasy. But besides being astounded and shocked, there were also some people that recovered to normal, and they even snorted disdainfully at Su Fong in their hearts. Su Fong has transcended heaven and earth and gone to outer space. He's a supreme existence in this universe, but he's just a small character in outer space. That's right. He probably came back because he can't survive in outer space. Those 3 peerless masters couldn't resolve the crisis. What can Su Fong do when he comes back? Most of the venerable sovereigns who stayed in the Pongsong universe didn't have a good relationship with Su Fong. They didn't show much joy when Su Fong returned. Instead, they secretly mocked and ridiculed him. Su Fong? The Su Fong who won first place in the Jiuquan Heavens chosen competition and then gave up everything. Xidagarba and the Sadhu were both shocked and stunned. They looked at Shi Xiandaozu. The Sadhu asked, Lord True Monarch, I heard that Su Fong is the common disciple of both Shi Xiandaozu and Dong Xiandaozu? Myriad Thunder True Monarch snorted. He's just a madman who relies on Lord Daozu's protection to show off. The Sadhu and Xidagarba were silent. They didn't dare to answer. Su Fong was Shi Xiandaozu's disciple. He shone in the Jiuquan Heavens chosen competition. Shi Xian cultivators should feel honored. Myriad Thunder True Monarch was an elder of Shi Xian Mountain. There was naturally a reason for his attitude toward Su Fong. The main reason was Shi Xian Tianqing. Shi Xian Tianqing lost to Su Fong in the Jiuquan Heavens chosen competition. Shi Xiandaozu thought highly of Su Fong, so Shi Xian Tianqing was naturally jealous and resentful. Western Profound Tianqing was the #1 genius of the Western Profound Divine Realm. He possessed authority that even ordinary elders did not possess. After returning to the Western Profound Divine Realm, those Western Profound cultivators naturally belittled Su Fong without restraint in order to curry favor with Western Profound Tianqing. They molded Su Fong into a madman who relied on Dao ancestor Shi Xian to do as he pleased. Moreover, Su Fongren had received such high regard from Dao ancestor Shi Xian even before he had arrived at the Western Profound Divine Realm. Moreover, he had attracted countless powerful enemies and offended countless powers for the Western Profound Divine Realm. This caused many of the higher-ups of the Western Profound Divine Realm to be rather dissatisfied with him. Myriad Thunder True Monarch had just failed to suppress the Blood Tomb and suffered a lot. Su Fong had broken the Blood Tomb's shackles as soon as he appeared. Myriad Thunder True Monarch paled in comparison, so he naturally didn't have a good attitude towards Su Fong. Su Fong also noticed them. His perfect vision allowed him to recognize Xidagarba at a glance. Xidagarba Buddha? I didn't expect Xidagarba Buddha to return to Pongsong Universe with 2 experts. They must be preparing to resolve the crisis. Su Fong was pleasantly surprised. His figure flashed as he teleported in front of the 3 of them. Xidagarba and the Sadhu put their palms together and saluted Su Fong. This kid isn't as arrogant as the rumors say. He knows how to salute me. Myriad Thunder True Monarch raised his head and waited for Su Fong to salute him. Little did he know, Su Fang cupped his fists at Ksitigarbha Buddha and said, "Junior Su Fang greets Lord Ksitigarbha Buddha." Ksitigarbha Buddha had once sworn that he would purge the evil karma of the netherworld from all living beings and use it to attain Buddhist enlightenment. He also swore that he wouldn't transcend until hell was emptied. Such a Buddhist cultivator had actually abandoned himself and sacrificed himself for all living beings. Thus, he was revered by all. Su Fang also admired him very much. In the netherworld, Su Fang had once received a Paramitha Buddha Sarira from Ksitigarbha Buddha, which had played a great role in Su Fang's transcendence. That was why Su Fang was so polite and respectful to Ksitigarbha Buddha. In Pongtsang universe, Ksitigarbha Buddha was a half-step transcendent Buddha expert. He had boundless magic power and was revered by all. However, in the Buddhist kingdom universe, he was just a Buddhist disciple with outstanding talent. His current strength was only at the peak of the lower Tao Lord realm. His master Faku, the ascetic monk, was only at the peak of the upper Tao Lord realm. Su Fang was the #1 genius of the human race, whose name shook Jiuquan. The difference in strength and status between them wasn't small at all. The fact that Su Fang was so respectful to Ksitigarbha Buddha surprised and stunned him. For a moment, he was a little flustered. "Don't be so polite, young Master Su Fang. Sure enough, he's as arrogant as the rumors say." True monarch Myriad Thunder snorted coldly. Su Fang had turned a blind eye to him, Elder Shi Xian, but was so respectful to a mere Buddhist disciple. This naturally made him unhappy. Su Fang told Ksitigarbha Buddha everything that had happened in the mirage of Buddha light back then. Realization dawned on Ksitigarbha. At the same time, he was shocked. He had never imagined that the legendary figure Su Fang, the #1 genius of the human race in Jiuquan, was actually from Pongtsang universe. The ascetic monk secretly transmitted to Ksitigarbha Buddha, Su Fang is the #1 heaven of the human race and the successor of the two great Daozu. Since you have such karma with him, you must seize this opportunity. This is a rare opportunity for both you and the Buddhists. In the Jiuquan God realm, there were mystic realms and Buddhist kingdom universes established by Buddhist cultivators, but they weren't the top forces. Although Buddhists were pure of heart and few desires and wouldn't curry favor with those in power, which Buddhist disciple didn't want Buddhism to be strong and spread its teachings? Now that there was a chance to form a relationship with the #1 genius of the human race in Jiuquan, the ascetic monk naturally wouldn't miss it. Su Fang was bound to be a top expert of the human race in the future. The benefits of forming a good relationship with him were self-evident. Both Ksitigarbha Buddha and the ascetic monk were chatting and making friends with Su Fang, leaving Myriad Thunder True Monarch on the sidelines. The Western Xian elder grew increasingly displeased and his face darkened. Su Fang sensed that Myriad Thunder True Monarch's aura was obviously of the same origin as Western Xian Tianqing and the other cultivators. Furthermore, he was an expert with the status of an elder. "Humph, I'm an elder of Western Xian Mountain. Although you're a disciple of the Daozu, how dare you look down on me?" Myriad Thunder True Monarch snorted coldly. Su Fang raised his eyebrows. He didn't seem to have offended this person. Why was he giving him such a sour face? "So you're an elder of Western Xian Mountain. I'm Su Fang." Su Fang cupped his fists again. After all, the other party was an expert of Western Xian, so he had to give him face. Who knew? Myriad Thunder True Monarch snorted coldly and ignored Su Fang with a condescending look. "That's ridiculous." Su Fang smiled lightly. Then, he looked at the 9 blood tombs and projected his sensing power to the entire Pangang universe. "I didn't expect the situation to be so critical. Fortunately, I came back in time." Su Fang couldn't help but sigh when he saw that the small and large worlds had been completely destroyed, and the myriad worlds were no different from being completely destroyed as well. No matter how heavenly venerable Pan Tsang treated him, the Pangang universe was still his hometown. Naturally, his heart was heavy when his hometown became like this. Myriad Thunder True Monarch sneered. Su Fang, I heard that you're the chosen one of Jiuquan and don't even care about the half-step Daozu. Since you're a cultivator from the Pangang universe, why don't you come to the rescue now that the universe is about to be destroyed? Don't worry about it. I'll do it. Su Fang's tone became extremely rude. Myriad Thunder True Monarch snorted disdainfully. If the number one genius of the god realm of Jiuquan makes a move, it'll be a piece of cake to resolve the crisis. Su Fang smiled. An extremely masculine aura gushed out of his body and quickly condensed into a light wheel formed by 9 divine suns. 9 suns heavenly wheel. The light wheel quickly grew in size. 1,000 feet, 10,000 feet, 10,000 feet in an instant. The 9 suns heavenly wheel turned into a world and enveloped the 9 blood tombs. The upper stage of profound Tao. Xitigarbha and the Sadhu were both shocked, and the divine light in their eyes changed instantly. They had heard some rumors about Su Fang, and that the cultivation of the geniuses participating in the Jiuquan selection was limited to the Tao Master realm. How could they not be shocked when the Jiuquan selection ended not long ago and Su Fang's cultivation had jumped to the upper stage of profound Tao? Xitigarbha couldn't help but smile bitterly. He had been a peerless figure in the Pongtsong universe, and his cultivation talent was naturally unparalleled. Su Fang was his junior, but now Su Fang had become a peerless figure that he had to look up to. Myriad Thunder True Monarch was also shocked, and then he felt jealous and indignant. It's obvious that Lord Daozu has spent a lot of effort and resources on him. Humph, Lord Daozu is really biased. He didn't spend so much effort on Sichuan Tianqing. Boom boom boom. The 9 suns heavenly wheel enveloped the 9 blood tombs, and the astonishing Xianyang divine power crashed like a tidal wave, shattering and collapsing the tombs layer by layer. What Su Fang didn't expect was that the blood tombs would wantonly absorb the power of the Pongtsong universe and quickly recover. Meanwhile, the Pongtsong universe was collapsing layer by layer, shaking heaven and earth, and shattering countless planes. If this goes on, the Pongtsong universe will be destroyed even if the 9 blood tombs are destroyed. Su Fang raised his eyebrows and retracted his thoughts. The 9 suns heavenly wheel disappeared, and the 9 blood tombs appeared again. Myriad Thunder True Monarch said in a strange voice, I thought the number 1 talent of Jiuquan was amazing, but I didn't expect that you can't even deal with a low-level universe. Could it be that your title of number 1 in Jiuquan is just an undeserved reputation? Su Fang smiled casually and stretched out his right hand. He flicked out a ring of chaotic light, which enveloped the 9 blood tombs in an instant. The primordial heavenly wheel. Su Fang had reached the upper stage of profound Tao, and the Wuji Sutra of Jiuquan had reached the 5th level. The primordial energy in the depths of the Jiuquan Tao Palace had become even more astonishing. Using the formless heavenly wheel now, it was enough to kill a peerless powerhouse who was a realm higher than him, or even higher. Puff puff puff. The Hong Meng heavenly wheel spun, and the blood tombs shattered layer by layer, turning into nothingness. The deathly aura they released also disappeared, and finally, they were completely reduced to nothingness in the Hong Meng heavenly wheel. The 9 suns blood tomb, which almost swallowed the entire Pongtsong universe, was easily destroyed by Su Fang, leaving no trace behind. Chapter 30-35. Even Myriad Thunder True Monarch couldn't do anything about the Jiuyang blood tomb, but Su Fang had wiped it out so easily. How could Myriad Thunder True Monarch not be shocked? Myriad Thunder True Monarch had to admit that Su Fang was far stronger than him. Now, there shouldn't be anyone who thinks that my reputation as the 9 Profound's number 1 genius is undeserved, right? Su Fang let out a cold laugh filled with ridicule. Myriad Thunder True Monarch had mocked him again and again. No matter how good-tempered Su Fang was, he was still a little angry and didn't hesitate to retaliate. Myriad Thunder True Monarch felt as if he had been slapped in the face, and his face burned. After Su Fang destroyed the Jiang blood tomb, the entire Pongsong universe immediately fell into cold darkness. Su Fang sighed inwardly. He activated his Xianyang Dharma body and condensed a thought with the power of Xianyang and Taoist rhymes, which turned into a divine sun hanging high in the sky. In an instant, sunlight shone on all worlds, dispelling the deathly aura that had shrouded the world. The entire Pongsong universe instantly became full of vitality. Myriad Thunder True monarchs snorted coldly. The evil god has already descended and devoured the Pongsong universe. What's the use of destroying the Jiang blood tomb? All lives born in the Pongsong universe still can't escape death. As long as I, Su Fang, am here, the evil god will never succeed. Su Fang smiled domineeringly. Then, he looked down and saw the mirage of Buddha light in the netherworld through the layers of space-time barriers. Qiangang. Seeing that Qiangang was safe and sound, Su Fang couldn't help but smile. He waved his hand and made a grabbing motion in the air. Qiangang and the entire mirage of Buddha light were directly transported from the netherworld by Su Fang. Qiangang was surprised and delighted to see Su Fang. Su Fang, you're really back. Su Fang was also very happy to see an old friend again. Qiangang recognized Xidagarba and was shocked again. He immediately knelt down and kowtowed to Xidagarba. Xidagarba hurriedly helped Qiangang up. Qiangang was Su Fang's friend, and their relationship seemed to be extraordinary. Xidagarba didn't dare to be a senior or Buddha in front of Qiangang. The sadhu said, "This boy is quite suitable for me. I want to take him as a disciple. What do you think, young Su Fang?" Obviously, he wanted to get closer to Su Fang. Su Fang nodded and said, "That's good. Qiangang, why don't you quickly acknowledge him as your master?" He felt was is was is was is Di Xian. Su Fang raised his eyebrows, then chuckled. "Congratulations, you have also become a Supreme Emperor." Di Xuan smiled wryly and bowed to Su Fang. He was a Supreme Emperor in the Pongsong universe, but in the eyes of a Supreme Emperor like Su Fang, he was less than an ant. Su Fang's divine light swept over the other Emperor Masters. He nodded and said, "Everyone, how have you been?" Boom. Those Emperor Masters felt as if they were facing the heavenly way. No, they were facing a supreme existence that surpassed the heavenly way. Su Fang didn't release his aura, but there was an invisible pressure that made those Emperor Masters kneel down to him, trembling all over. The Emperor Masters who had been disdainful of Su Fang and thought that Su Fang had returned because he couldn't survive in the outer realms anymore were terrified. No need to be so polite. Su Fang smiled and completely restrained himself, making him look like an ordinary person. Only then did the Emperor Realm Masters feel relieved. Di Xuan said, "Su Fang, where are Xiao Wanting, Sang Qiu, and the others now?" Su Fang released Xiao Wanting, Sang Qiu, Wei Dao, and the Zhu clan emperor from the heavenly Wei Dharma body. These were the Emperor Masters who had left the Pongsong universe with Su Fang. At this time, their strength had already surpassed the shackles of the low-level universes and had become true immortal realm cultivators. Xiao Wanting was the most extraordinary. He was already an intermediate Dao Lord expert. Feeling the aura of Xiao Wanting and the others, Di Xuan and the others trembled again and couldn't help but kneel down again. Xiao Wanting snorted. "When I asked you to leave with Su Fang, you cared about your face and were worried that you would suffer losses with Su Fang. Do you regret it now?" Sang Qiu stroked his beard and chuckled. "To tell you the truth, Su Fang is not an ordinary person now. He is the #1 genius of the human race beyond the heavens. He is famous in the Jiuxuan God realm." Only Dao also laughed heartily. Shock, regret, conflict, shame. Dixuan and the Emperor Masters of the Pan-Tsang universe were all regretting it so much that their intestines turned green. What was the purpose of cultivators' cultivation? Which of these Emperor Masters of the Pan-Tsang universe didn't want to transcend, leave the low-level universes, and enter the human race beyond the heavens? They missed such a great opportunity. How could they not regret it? What was even more unexpected was that Su Fang had become the #1 genius of the entire human race beyond their imagination. The Pan-Tsang universe is no longer suitable for living beings to live in. Leave with me. Su Fang looked at Dixuan and the others and nodded. Dixuan and the Emperor Masters of the Pan-Tsang universe were all surprised and delighted. Please allow us to return to the Yuan Tiangong to prepare, Dixuan said to Su Fang excitedly. No need. Su Fang smiled faintly. A thought flashed out from between his eyebrows and turned into a divine power that was above the heavenly Tao of the Pan-Tsang universe. It enveloped the entire Yuan Tiangong. Rumble. The Yuan Tiangong shook violently and then quickly shrank under Su Fang's divine power. Finally, it turned into a Xianguang and was directly moved into the Jiuxuan Dao Palace by Su Fang. He then sent it into the universe inside the heavenly Tao Dharma body. Such a shocking scene left Di Xian and the other Emperor Realm Masters dumbfounded. Then, Su Fang projected his power of perception to the entire Pan-Tsang universe. With a thought, he absorbed the few living beings, including the cultivators and the big goblin, into the space inside the heavenly Tao Dharma body. In the end, Su Fang stared at the myriad worlds and sighed. The Pan-Tsang universe was completely destroyed. Even if the evil god was killed, it would be difficult to reverse the fate of the Pan-Tsang universe. This result made Su Fang's heart a little heavy. All of you can enter my heaven and earth cosmos to cultivate as well. Seniors Sang Qiu, Wei Dao and the others, go and settle them down. With a single thought, Su Fang sent Di Xian and the others into his Heaven's Path spell body. At the same time, he let Sang Qiu and the others distribute various resources to them. What would happen in the future would depend on their own luck. It's time to deal with the evil god. Su Fang looked at the Tao Sea of the Pan-Tsang universe, and the depths of his eyes suddenly became as cold as ice. The evil god's descent was the biggest disaster. If it wasn't dealt with, the cultivators and the big goblin born in the Pan-Tsang universe would all perish with the destruction of the Pan-Tsang universe. Su Fang's figure flashed and instantly teleported to the depths of the Tao Sea. When he came to the boundary of the Mountain Guardian's divine body, primordial spirit, and world incarnation, Su Fang sensed and found that the Mountain Guardian's will had disappeared. However, the seal he made with his own words was still there, preventing the evil god from leaving the depths of the Tao Sea. However, the seal had become incomplete and was no longer of much use. Su Fang cupped his fists and bowed to the seal. Lord Mountain Guardian, I, Su Fang, have returned to fulfill my promise. After bowing to the Mountain Guardian, Su Fang took a step forward and went beyond the heavy shackles. He instantly came to the depths of the heavenly Tao Lord Pan-Tsang's consciousness. It was as if he had changed time and space. In front of him was a mysterious and vast blood-red time and space. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Evil thoughts came from all directions towards Su Fang. Su Fang stepped in the air, his whole body exuding a shocking Xianyang divine aura. Those evil thoughts were like moths to a flame, burning and shattering layer by layer. Su Fang's journey was unimpeded. Once again, he came to the highest origin of the heavenly Tao Lord Pan-Tsang, where his ultimate consciousness and soul were located. An illusory image of Pan-Tsang appeared in front of Su Fang. Descend, come out and die. Su Fang let out a domineering shout. The illusory image of Pan-Tsang suddenly opened its eyes, and the evil will rushed toward Su Fang. How dare you compete with the light of the sun and the moon? Su Fang sneered disdainfully and used the will visualization technique. A blood-red saber light flashed out and smashed the evil will into pieces. The saber light fell on the illusory image of Pan Tsang, and a scream came from within. Su Fang, how can a puny low-level life form like you become so powerful? Descend exclaimed in disbelief. Su Fang sneered domineeringly. If I didn't have the confidence to kill you, why would I return to the Pan Tsang universe? Do you know what kind of existence I am? How dare you dream of killing me? Descend laughed wildly and sneered at Su Fang's words. Of course I know what you are, Su Fang sneered in disdain. The so-called Descend is not an evil cultivator, nor is it an evil force. It all comes from one person, the Divine Master of 10 Directions. You are just a strand of evil karma of the Divine Master of 10 Directions, which is fused with the incomplete Jiuxuan Wuji Sutra. As long as a cultivator cultivates this incomplete Jiuxuan Wuji Sutra, he will be tainted by karma. Not only will it devour the heaven, earth, and universe that the cultivator painstakingly cultivated, but it will also become a part of Descend. Su Fang gazed at Descend as if he had seen through everything. He had cultivated the Jiuxuan Wuji Sutra to the 5th level and obtained some of the memories of the Divine Master of 10 Directions. With the help of the Tianyan mystery solution, he had already roughly guessed the ins and outs of the evil god's Descend. However, he did not understand why the Divine Master of 10 Directions would do this. Perhaps the truth would be revealed when he arrived at the ruins of God in the Chaos extraterritorial realm. I didn't expect a cultivator from the Pan Tsang universe to know something about my true body. Since you know so clearly, you should know how powerful my true body is. Then why do you overestimate yourself and fight against me? You are just a strand of evil karma. How dare you look down on me? Su Fang sneered disdainfully. Since I came from the Pan Tsang universe, I will kill you and end the karma. Descend said indifferently, I am an immortal existence. How can you end the karma? Even Daozu doesn't dare to call himself immortal, let alone you, a mere Descend.